Well, hey everybody, welcome to Behind the Fiends. And I know you know that handsome Canuck over there just to my left or right, whichever it is. He's to my right on the screen, Mr. Steve Merlo, the director of the Sawyer Massacre and the new film Unseen. How you doing there, Steve?
Oh, I can't complain. Happy here in Canada. How are you doing, John?
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad here in the great state of Hawaii. Just chilling, hanging out here on this Saturday evening. Just got done doing my run a little while ago when I texted you and said I need to go take a shower real quick because where it's cold where you are, it's like, I think it got up to like 82 here today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we don't really ever see winter here.
Well, Beth.
Never really. Have you all really got winter weather yet?
It's been a little bit chilly, but there hasn't really been a lot of snow or anything yet. So just a couple
Eh,
flakes. Nothing too, nothing too bad yet.
what's
Hey,
going
it's
on, Michelle?
Michelle. Hey, been a while.
Yeah, I got to get up with Michelle, get her back on here at some point. Haven't talked to
Yeah.
her in a minute. Her or Brandon. I haven't heard anything out of Brandon. Last time I talked to him, he's kind of blew up a little bit over there in Ireland.
Brandon.
Guy, the guy
Oh
that
yeah.
that played in Third Channel as
Yeah.
the evil doctor
Yeah.
or scientist. But so it's been a while since I talked to you. How you been? What's been the haps? How's
It's
the
been
family? How's
it's been
everything?
it's been a while since I've talked to anybody, I think, pretty much. So no, it's been okay. I can't complain. It's been busy. I took quite a break from doing all of this kind of stuff because I just had to really dive deep into my movie because I knew it was just going to be a challenge, and it was a challenge. It was definitely not an easy film to get made, but you know what, I'm here. We've got a pretty decent cut. I got a couple little pickup shots I still have to get, but I'm waiting on my buddy Joe to get me some graphics for me though, and get me a couple things that I need for the shots. But other than that, I think we've got a pretty good looking movie. Considering there were, I mean, I can tell you some stories or whatever, but
Yeah, we're not going to spoil the movie.
oh
No,
no, definitely not going to spoil the movie. But I mean, you can imagine. I think at this point, John, like these movies that are made for these kinds of budgets, we're lucky if we do get them made. When all the things that could go wrong, and some stuff does go wrong, and you just got to think on your feet. Try to be
it's
as
like
prepared as you can.
it's like we were talking for we came on here. We were referencing different old indie filmmakers like Richard Linklater and Tarantino and uh, different ones like that. I mean, they made it work even back before crowdfunding and Indiegogo, and they had any kind of big studio backing. So, if they can do it, damn it, you can too.
Well, wish us luck when it comes to the whole. Because now I'm going to be like when the movie is finally in the can, which is getting pretty close to. When it is in the can, then it's the distribution game, and I've never really played that game before, so I've never really. I have to learn a whole new part of the industry because I've never sold a movie before. You know what I mean? This will be the first time I've had that opportunity to do that. So, uh, yeah, so that'll be interesting. Wish me luck on that.
So
I
have
know
you?
I know I need a good entertainment lawyer. That's all I know.
So have you ever talked to Steve Herman, the one that I interviewed last weekend?
I think I've networked with him a little bit on Facebook, but I've never actually spoken to him or anything like that. But I
Reach out. I was going to
reach
say
out to
reach
him.
out to him because
Yeah.
he sells a lot of movies to these
Oh, okay.
streaming services and stuff. So he
Yeah.
kind of knows the ins and outs. And he'd be glad to help. He's a super sweet guy.
Cool.
Lives
Cool.
out in Texas, Chicago
Oh, yeah.
boy out in Texas.
Chicago boy out in Texas, huh?
Yeah. But speaking of your film, was this shoot easier or harder than Sawyer Massacre?
I think they're both really hard for different reasons. This movie was definitely harder mentally on me, whereas Sawyer Massacre was harder physically. I mean, there's some mental stuff with that as well too, but overall, I would say this movie was definitely harder on a mental side of things because I had to just think of what the heck I'm going to do here, and for the I had a lot of recasting to do. Had locations I had booked that dropped out last minute, and so it was just a lot more thinking on your feet and figuring out how you're going to solve these problems. Now we did have some of those problems on Sawyer Massacre as well, but I think for the most part, a lot of the stuff that were really hard for us were dealing with some of the locations we had physically because like old abandoned houses and stuff like that were tough to film in. We had to the main one that we filmed in Sawyer Massacre, we had to clean it all out. In fact, most of the crew just did all that. Thank you, crew, for cleaning up that house, because I remember walking in there and me and Scotty, I think, moved all the furniture into one room because there's all these shelves and everything in that. There's all kinds of dressers and I don't know, cabinets and whatnot that were just lying everywhere in the main living room. And Scotty and I just dragged them all into the one room that we figured we weren't using in the film at all. And then rat poop all over the floor. Rat or bats or mice or whatever kind of rodents could make poop. There was poop everywhere. And the crew took care of that. So like for free, like before we started filming, and like nobody was complaining about it or anything. It's just a bunch of people coming together like, hey, we're gonna make this work. When I walked into that house and it was clean, I was like, holy shit, you guys really came through for me.
It's too clean for the movie. Make it dirtier.
Yeah. And then all of us were hacking away at vines and branches and stuff just to make it so we could see this house. It was actually the other house for the exterior because it was just buried in all these trees and whatnot. So we had to basically had chainsaws and we were taking machetes, just swiping away at everything. We all did that, So again, physically, the Sawyer Massacre that was tough. And again, a lot of people ditched out on the film as well, so that just overcomplicated things. And we made it work though. On this movie, we had a lot of complications with locations dropping out, cast members dropping out, and had to recast last minute. I think the cast did pretty damn good. I think we recast at least 3 people within the last week before filming.
Was it any of your main characters that dropped out on you?
Yeah, a couple of the main characters we lost. We kept our lead actress, Trinity Chase. She stayed on board, but the gal playing Jessica, that was the girl that played Jessica. We lost her mostly because we could not afford to fly her all the way from Florida. It was just not in the budget. That was an expensive flight. So she was pretty understanding, knowing that we would have to recast her. But we got a pretty darn good actress in the role to replace her. She's Russian, though. We have some. She speaks good English, but she has got a pretty thick accent. But Katerina Krimova, I hope I'm pronouncing her name properly. She flew in from L.A., just happy to be a part of the movie, and just did an amazing job in the character of Jessica. And then I always knew there was another actress that I had met years ago, and I forgot her name. I knew she was really good. So I was like, I have one more role to cast, and I know this girl would be perfect for it. And it was the role of Stacy. We lost the original actor we had playing Stacy because she became a union actress. So that was unfortunate as well. So I got lucky. I was just scrolling through the Facebook of our local film community page, and this girl, she commented on somebody's post. I'm like, and as soon as I saw her name, I'm like, that was the girl that I wanted. And I luckily I found her. I found her name, found her email and everything, contacted her. We're filming in like a week. Do you think you can take this role? This is a pretty big role. She's like, yeah, I can do it. I've got it. I gotcha. And yeah, she did. She did a fantastic job. Fantastic job. And we had to recast Felissa Rose because we had a lot of scheduling problems with her. We really tried to make it work, but as I had mentioned a while ago when we recast Felissa, we had to, that was unfortunate. But scheduling is scheduling, and there's just nothing we can do. It was mostly we couldn't make hers and Jamie Hill's schedules work very well at all. So it was what it was.
You go on IMDb and look at Felissa's.
Yeah, she's a busy gal.
Good God.
We all parted on good terms. It was just hectic in the last week or last 2 weeks for some of them, I guess. But to have to go and recast everybody in your so many people. And there's a few other characters. We had actually cast Nika Lowe from the Sawyer Massacre in the movie as well, probably a good couple months. 2 or 3 months, and then she had to back out because she got married. I don't know. I imagine that had something to do with that. So we had to recast her role.
Congratulations to her.
Congrats to her. I don't know if she's acting anymore now. I think that she's probably, refocusing her career to other places. I don't know.
Nick, I'm gonna say this. I don't know if you'll ever see this, and Steve Sharrett maybe. And you
maybe
timestamp where we at. Let's see, we're at 12 minutes, almost 13 minutes. Just go all the way if you want to this part right here. Do not give up acting. You have a talent and a skill that you do not need to waste. You are an incredible actress. Please don't waste that.
I hope not, but I was excited to possibly work with her again on this movie, but oh well, I don't blame her. We all got our stuff going on, and she accepted it, and then unfortunately she had to back out. But she actually did suggest to me different people to replace her in this role. So we're lucky enough that we got a good actress to replace the role we cast her in. And I mean, all in all, I think overall our cast is pretty good when you consider that at least, I don't know, a good handful of the actors we had to cast last minute. It was last minute casting sort of thing, and it was like, boy, are we gonna have all these roles filled? But we did. We got every role filled. There was a time I was considering doing a little bit of a rewrite to possibly write one of the smaller characters out, but we made it work. We were able to get it in. And I'm glad that I didn't have to rewrite, because it just would have been a pain in the ass to write that one character out, So we got it all in. And that's the important thing.
My question is you've done both now. You've done a fan film based on an established IP with the Sawyer Massacre, and now you've done your original flick with Unseen. I would imagine Unseen being just an original idea creatively was probably more challenging because you didn't already have all this stuff that was already established that you could pull from per se, or was it easier playing in your own sandbox?
I think a little of both, and depending on how on what you find more challenging. For me, I would say overall this was easier than the Sawyer Massacre, because when you're trying to not just pay homage to one of the greatest films of all time and do it justice, you still want to have your own fingerprint on it and still feel like it's a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. It belongs. I think that for me was more difficult. Like, man, I spent a long time with that script, you know, that I knew I didn't want it to be just a carbon copy of the original. I knew that there were certain things that I had to get into to make it different in its own way. I think the cannibal theme was sort of the main thing, even though we do have the cannibal elements in the Sawyer Massacre. I think that, you know, I wanted a new motive in the Sawyer Massacre that you know, overshadowed the cannibalism a little bit. That would you know, give something new to people that they haven't really experienced in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, at least not to that degree. And I thought that you know, that was the hardest part to come up. What's going to make this movie different, more, and give it that disturbing factor without copying what the original did with the cannibalism. So, you know, the idea of continuing the family legacy, I thought that was kind of I thought it was the right way to go with with the Sawyer Massacre. I'm not sure how some people feel about it. You know, I'm sure some people think, oh, that's a little bit too much. I don't know, or whatever. You know, but I don't know. I thought we delivered it fairly subtly. You know, it wasn't heavy handed to you. You know, like the cannibalism wasn't that heavy handed in the original. Like, you know, Sally's in the gas station. She's looking at that barbecue roasting, and it's just kind of you're focused on that. Like, well, what's this barbecue? You know, and stuff like that, right? It's just it's a little bit more subtle, but you know, it's implied heavily that that this is human meat, sort of thing. You know?
Yeah, you're looking in that smoker, and there's this. If I remember
Yeah.
correctly, there's like a rack of ribs hanging in there, and you're like, "That's not cow ribs." You know,
Ugh.
that's
You just get that sense that this is
yeah.
there's ooh, this is not good.
Well, the thing I like what you did with Sawyer Massacre, with the other family members outside of Leatherface, you did way more character development there
Other
than
than the
just
hitchhiker, I didn't
yeah,
really.
yeah, you did. But he, you know, at the timeline, the way it was that you had it, he was still a young
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah,
So
I
I
didn't
got
feel
it.
like it. Yeah, and a lot of people wish that I had more of him in the movie, but I don't know. It didn't make a lot of sense to make him a big character in the movie. That's too bad because Vitor that played him did such a great job.
I
Uh,
still
you,
want to talk to that kid.
I don't know.
That kid blew me away in that movie, and I was like, dude, that was an incredible job. He was just this
You did damn
pesky
good.
little kid that just wasn't wound tight, though. You could tell
Yeah.
something was off, but he was just running around. Uh, but with Grandpa, you did more with him, and you had a wonderful actor for him. Bill Russell, wasn't it?
Nope. Bill Russell's in on scene. That was Les Best.
Yes, Les Best. Sorry, but you fleshed his character out more than him just being this old guy and a bad special effects mask sucking on Sally's finger. You know, there was more that you got out of him. And then with Rex, there was more that you got out of him. And it let you peek behind the curtain of how the Sawyers thought were with Toby Hooper's movie. It was just pedal to the metal. Not saying that it was badly paced. No, it was not badly paced. It was actually, to me and to you as well, it was perfectly paced. But there wasn't time for a lot of character development because Toby Hooper was strapped for cash, obviously, and he couldn't sit there and just keep filming and filming and filming.
Very true. Very true. And I don't know. I think the fact that he kind of wanted the family to be a little bit more
Mysterious.
given that mystique factor. And I still think we have a good enough amount of mystique to the family in our movie, but you know, we knew we had to give a little something. You know, there had to be a little something more. And you know, with characters like Drayton, you know, like I read the original script to get him to really understand where I wanted to go with him, and it seemed odd at the time, uh, I thought maybe I'd get a lot of people saying, "Hey, this is not a good idea to write Drayton this way." More the good guy rather than the insane lunatic he was in the original. But I can't remember exactly what it said in his character description, but it said something about a broken old man that has decided to give up fighting and just go with what it said something along those lines. I'd have to read it again. I remember finding the original, and the character descriptions were very long back in those days. It was like almost a full page just on his description. Like my character descriptions are nowhere near, they're like a couple lines and that's it, maybe just one sentence, but that was pretty long. And I just remember that kind of stuck out to me. I'm like, what if he's more of a, well, maybe he's trying to fight the good fight. He's younger than he was in the original, and he's maybe trying to fight against his family a little bit, so that's why I did that.
Well, the time
risk,
frame of
that's
your
for sure.
Well, in the time frame of your movie, I mean, you could basically say that maybe this is when the Sawyers really began to struggle, and at that time, Drayton was still trying to hold on to hope and hadn't completely let his drifted off into some psychosis of some sort.
Yeah.
And even in the original movie, he was a very conflicted character. It was almost like the Anakin Skywalker effect kind of thing, not trying to go off into a rant about Star Wars, but there was a part of him that knew this ain't right, but my family comes before everything. So I just got to do what needs to be done.
Yeah.
So
it was, that was a risk that paid off as far as I'm concerned, because I didn't get complaints about that. I thought I would. I thought that was one thing that people would have a hard time with, but it didn't seem like it. So even, when I had written the script and I was getting consultants looking at it, not one of them thought that it was a bad idea. So, when I'm writing it, I'm like, okay, this is a bit of a risk. Should I do this? I asked myself that, but nobody complained about it. So I guess it was the right move. There's a couple things I definitely would change though, but I don't think that's one of them. If I could go back and change certain elements of the Sawyer Massacre, I think the biggest thing is why they got, how they're being lured to the house. I think that's the one thing I would go back plot wise and say there's got to be there's got to be a more realistic reason why they're going to that house.
Then we just got groceries there with my grandpa.
It's got to make but
Steve, you got to think about it, man. You shot this movie in 9 days. 9 days.
We shot unseen in 12, so we had more time. Hey, I'll say this though, having those extra 3 days, I am definitely I like the shots we got more from unseen. I definitely was able to get the type of shots I wanted more. Like that's one thing about Sawyer Massacre. I really wasn't able to get a lot of shots the way I wanted them to be done in that movie. It was just, we had to work because we really had to work with what we got, and we were on such a tight. We had to go easiest possible shots every time. We couldn't do something really creative. So I mean, a lot of the shots you see in the Sawyer Massacre, there's not a lot of really difficult shots that we had. We had to be quick and on our feet, and it had to be like, boy, you got to shoot this now. And whereas this, we having an extra few days there, well, it gave us a little bit more freedom, and I definitely can honestly say I don't think there's any shots that I'm like truly disappointed in. Again, I'm not a camera guy or anything for when it comes down to that, but as far as the framing and stuff goes and the type of movement, I got a lot of that I wanted from Unseen, whereas a good 80% of my shot list for the Sawyer Massacre was thrown out the window because we couldn't pull them off with what we had. It was just the way it goes, just the way she goes. But we made the movie. As long as you're capturing the story, I think that's that's the most important thing. But just part of me looks at certain shots. I'm like, this is what I really wanted here, and this is what I really wanted here. And it's just we couldn't make it happen. But
the thing I always loved about Sawyer Massacre, going into it, watching it, is I know all the backstory. I know most of the actors you had in this movie. Gotten to be friends with all of you. But the fact of this was your first big movie that you did, and most indie filmmakers will normally play it safe, stick to their area, don't travel off and to make the movie. You said, screw it, I'm going down to Texas to make this thing from Vancouver, British Columbia.
Well, Vancouver, Kelowna, but close enough.
Yeah.
British Columbia.
That's a big undertaking, man. And not just drag yourself, but you, Leatherface, most of the cast and crew didn't get down there. Your caterer didn't show up for you. Your vehicle rentals were, and your special effects person that was working on the mask initially failed to get back in touch with you, and you had the last minute all this stuff. I applaud you, man. I mean, that
we did good for what we had. I mean, you just always just wish for better, though. That's you wish those things didn't happen so you could really make the movie that you wanted to make. But hey, we made a movie. It's not the best, but it's not the worst either. I mean, I still get good compliments from it. There's a lot of people that hate it. There's a lot of people that watch that movie and just like despise it. But I don't know. But we got our fan base as well. So I mean, I'm proud of it. At the end of the day, I'm proud of it. And you do the best you can with what you got. I mean, at the end of the day, we had no budget. We really did. I mean, it really is no budget, guys. People got to remember that $30,000 or whatever it was we had on that movie. It was give or take in that ballpark of $30,000 US. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's around the same that we had on this movie, and we didn't raise as much on this movie, so we had to put our own money into it, So I'm still trying to get out of debt, and I had to buy a computer, so it's you do it because you have to get the movie made, and this was the bare minimum that we could get this movie made for. So we just knew that you put everything you can into it, and hopefully you get something good. Hopefully you get a fan base,
Well, I can say this. I do a lot of keeping up with Hollywood news and stuff. I get this one newsletter every day called The Industry. That's kind of like all the stuff going on within Hollywood. I just like to keep up with it, so I kind of know what the hell I'm talking about sometimes, or pretend at least. And big Hollywood's hurting bad. And you guys, the indie filmmakers, though you're not really seeing the returns monetarily, you all are kind of killing it, and you're opening up a door that those big studios are scared of, absolutely terrified of, because they know, oh God, all these indie filmmakers are coming along. They got YouTube, they got Tubi, and all these streaming services that they can put their movies on, and they don't need us, and they can crowdfund their movies. Yeah. So it eliminates us, the big studio.
Yeah, I mean, there's good and bad to both of that, I guess, at the end of the day. I know, I mean, what's going on with Hollywood and the whole movie-going experience in general is just not what it once was. And I don't know. I think they've got a lot of things backwards. I don't want to go to a freaking movie theater these days because of how expensive everything is. We took our kids
and get disappointed when you go to sit down and watch the flick.
Yeah. And you pay so much money for anything you get there. It's I don't know. It seems like they're doing this to make up for the shortfalls that they've been having. But then you eliminate so many people that want to go see the movies at the theaters, and it's just for this crowd that's got money, And then okay, we've lost so many people. We've lost all these people, so now we have to charge more. and it's going to keep happening that way. We can't have that mentality that we just got to keep charging more and more and more and more for these to go to the theater. I want to go to the movie theaters. I took my kids to see our family went to see The Wild Robot about a month ago. Loved it. It was a great movie, and I miss having that experience, seeing both my kids, my 3-year-old son, who's just loving it. He's just in the theater, just absolutely loves it. My oldest daughter, who's 7, having a great time. But I would want to take them once a week. We can't go to the movies once a week. It's just, you can't do that anymore. It's an unfortunate thing. By the way, The Wild Robot, best animated film I've seen. This, and a lot of people might challenge me on this one, but sorry, best animated film I have seen since The Land Before Time. Just saying. The Land Before Time is pretty old. Yeah. 1988 or 89, I think. So.
Yep, you nailed it. 1988. My grandfather took me to see it, and I'm dating myself by saying this, but he also took me to Pizza Hut, and Pizza Hut was doing a promotion at that time that they had these little rubber hand puppets. Okay. And I got Ducky.
Oh, Ducky.
So I'm sitting there eating pizza with Ducky on my hand, sitting there talking, and then I go to the movie theater and see it, and I still got Ducky on my hand. I love that movie. That one and Who Framed Roger Rabbit in 1988, to me, full stop right there. That was the 2 best movies that came out of 1988 to me.
I have to go back and see if there's other good animated films from that year, but yeah, I mean, I can't remember any other film, but those are 2 great animated films for sure. But yeah, to me, The Land Before Time always has a special place in my heart. Well, that was the year. Well, 1988 was when my parents got divorced, and I moved to Edmonton, and there was definitely this big sudden change, and I think the themes in The Land Before Time, where you've got a big change like poor Littlefoot had in that movie. And that positive ending, that great ending, pushing you forward, push forward to achieve that goal, just to get to the promised land, to get to the Great Valley. Oh man, it still moves me today. It's the only movie I think that makes me cry twice. Damn it! I cry at Littlefoot's mother's death, and I cry at the ending. Like it's hard for me not to when I watch that movie, and I'm showing it to my kids now, and they're seeing me cry. I'm trying to hold back the tears when I watch that movie, but
Monsters Inc. Monsters Inc. does that for me.
Really, I saw bits of that movie, and I couldn't get into it, so I don't know. I can't get into any of these Disney Pixar movies anymore. I can't. I've tried. I've gone to the theater for some of them with my kids.
And, well, my niece, when she was little, we called her Boo, which is the name of the little girl in Monsters Inc.
Okay.
And I was like her favorite uncle. Not just saying that. I mean that. I was her favorite uncle. Still am. Still hold the title. But calling her Boo, I always was like, well, I guess I'm Uncle Sully then, Sully and Boo. So I connected on an emotional level with a family member with it, So because me and her were tight.
Yeah, that makes sense. There you go.
But yeah, you go to 1989, everybody knows that's Batman. Batman ruled everything.
Oh, yeah.
It was everywhere.
Yeah. Batman was, Batman, and if we're going comedy at all, 1989, Weird Al Yankovic, UHF. I've got a special place in my heart for Weird Al Yankovic. So I did an homage to that movie in the Sawyer Massacre. I don't know if you saw that little clip I posted on my YouTube.
I had to go back and look at it.
Yeah, I took a little bit from UHF there just to pay homage. I even shared it on Weird Al's Instagram, I think, and I don't know. I can't remember if I got a thumbs up or whatever from him, but yeah. Anyways, I love Weird Al. Weird Al is like a hero to me. So I wanted to do a little homage in the Sawyer Massacre to
They
him.
they did a film about him. Did you know that they had Daniel Radcliffe? Harry Potter played Weird Al Yankovic in it.
I
He did
saw
a
I saw that on the plane back from Nashville, I believe, when I was at the Nashville at a horror film festival there just over a year ago. I saw that. It's basically a parody on his life. It's not like hardly any of it's true at all. In that movie, Michael Jackson did a parody of "Eat It" with it was the other way around, basically. I thought it was funny.
but Daniel Radcliffe is such a good actor. I mean, I get he's in his 30s now, but we practically watched this kid grow up as Harry Potter, and he basically got typecast, so to speak, as Harry Potter. And he does a lot of these lower budget films. Like he did one called Guns Akimbo, where it was a low budget indie action movie where he was this guy that got these guns fused to his hand. And it's a Kill Bill kind of story, and it's so crazy and outlandish, but it was really good. And then he does a lot of these plays in London. He did one play, I think, where the whole time he's up on stage, he's completely nude for the whole play.
Oh, goodness.
And I'm sitting there like, there's no way I could do that in front of a bunch of people just for
I could. I don't care about my body, whatever.
Well, you must be sexier than me, sir.
No, I'm not. I'm definitely not, but I just don't care.
Nobody wants to see this slightly used, almost warranty went out on old 50-year-old man here. No. I'll spare you. I'm almost 50. Yeah, I'm getting close to 50, brother. I'm 49.
We're all gonna get if we don't get old, we die. That's the fact.
I'm still a kid at heart. Everybody's like, man, I can't believe you're almost 50. You look like you're in your 30s. I'm like, well, thanks. I guess it's good genes or something, but
yeah.
I'm almost 50. I have to watch my cholesterol and sugar intake and can't eat what I want to anymore because if I look at a cookie, I gain 5 pounds. So, those things.
What's 5 pounds, right? It's like putting a lawn chair on the Queen Mary.
Well, I've done good. I think the last time you and me got together, I was 285 pounds. Yeah, I got up there, and now I'm down to 230.
Oh, good for you. I don't even think I'm down to 2. I think I'm still around 240.
I had to. They did a physical on me, and I got heart disease. It runs in my family really bad.
Thanks.
And they told me if I kept on the pace that I was going to go, I was going to end up having a massive heart attack by the time I was 55, if not earlier. So I kind of, you
don't want to check out that early, man.
Well, supposedly there's a chemical that comes from your heart muscle that they see in your blood test, and as long as it's around 0.3 and 0.4, you're G normally. You're pretty G. And with me, it was a 0.9. Which is not dangerous. You got up until 0.19, and then it becomes dangerous. And because this chemical damages your heart muscle. And when they did my blood test, the doc come in, the cardiologist, and he was like, it's not bad, but that particular I can't remember Pacronin or Triconin, something like that. I'm not no doctor. I work on cars for a living and watch movies. But he said that it was 0.9 in my bloodstream. And he goes, now that's not a cause for alarm. That's showing that your current state with your diet and everything, you might want to change because that chemical level is rising in your bloodstream, which means your heart is being damaged. So I was like, okay, that's all you had to say to me, doc. And I come home, I threw away cookies and
good for you.
My neighbors, I gave them candy and stuff I had because that was my biggest hang up was cake, candy, and ice cream. And
it's tough for me too. I have a massive sweet tooth, and I don't envy the day where my doctor's going to say, Steve, gotta shut her down with the sweets. It's going to happen, man, eventually. So I'm just kind of enjoying it while I can. whatever.
Well, we got a grocery store over here that sells Nanaimo bars,
Ugh.
and I get them all the time because I love anything that you all have in Canada. Poutine, Tim Hortons donuts. You go online and can actually order them and have them shipped to you.
Yeah. You
So,
tried Hawkins cheesies?
not yet.
Oh, you got it. Oh, God, you're missing out. But when we were shooting unseen, I think about half the cast was American, so they'd never had Hawkins cheesies before. So when we went to Costco, my wife suggested getting a bunch of Hawkins cheesies. Well, let's just say they were gone pretty fast. I think.
My youngest son, before he moved back to the mainland United States, he moved to Oklahoma, and he came over one night, and I said, "Man, I don't know what to fix for dinner tonight." And then it popped in my head. I said, "You know what? I'm gonna fix poutine." So I went to the grocery store. It's easy, and I went and got the stuff for it. Came home and made it, and I set the plate down in front of him, and he looked at me. He goes, "Dad, this just looks like you took a bunch of leftovers, just scrapped it together." I was like, "Don't knock it, try it."
Try it.
And he started eating it. He goes, "Oh my God, this is the greatest thing I've ever eaten." He goes, "Where's this from?" I said, "Canada."
Yeah. No, it's Quebecers, man.
I said, "You go to hockey."
Definitely not
hockey
the
games. No, and you can go to hockey games and get it. I'm pretty sure at like Rogers Place and places, different places.
Just always remember to stop having poutine once it gives you a heart attack. If it gives you, one heart attack is enough with poutine. After that, it's too much. Because it will get. I don't know. I gotta stop eating that. The Costco's here have it, and we eat Costco poutines all the time. Too much. My kids love it. My kids just can't stop eating. They're very Canadian, I guess. But yeah.
Well, your kids have also got a lot of Filipino in them, considering your wife is Filipino. And I live in a community here in Hawaii that is, I'd say, Waipahu is probably roughly 85% Filipino.
Oh, really?
Filipino and Filipino folks like to eat.
They sure do.
And they like to eat a lot. They make. Has your wife ever made you pork adobo before? Adobo fried rice?
We usually do chicken adobo because I'm not a huge pork guy, but she does the lechon with the pork, with like the full
crispy pork on top.
Oh yeah.
The only thing I can't do
typically chicken adobo though. Yeah.
The only thing I can't do is the balut. I can't do that.
I did that once. I did that once, and I'll never do it again.
Nah, son, I can't. I mean, if you held a gun to my head, I'll try, but you just well pull the trigger because I'm pretty sure it's not going to go how you want it to go.
Yeah, it was not like. Have you ever actually attempted to try it?
Yeah, and I'm not. Textures and smell don't particularly bother me. It's the actual look of the thing.
Yes, it's funny how the eyes play the biggest part. You see that, you see the shape of the head, and it's like, oh my God, no!
I'm sitting there going, "Look, dude, I ain't got to the point where it's Walking Dead, and I'll take what I can get." We haven't got there yet. So how about I just go to McDonald's, get a quarter pounder, and you can have the balut? Sound like a deal,
Exactly.
But there's
definitely a few Filipino foods that have not grown on me. I'll say that, but I can at least handle them. But the balut, no, you won't get me to eat that again. No, I did it once. I got through the whole thing. I can go on Fear Factor, I guess, but I ain't eating that ever again.
Has she ever made you Filipino spaghetti?
Yeah,
with the hot dogs.
Yeah, it's not.
I love that.
Oh, really? It's not...
Yeah, I love that.
Maybe it's because I'm Italian. I'm half Italian, and I grew up with good spaghetti. So, mind you, it's like, we have like the American style spaghetti here. More like we cook our pasta sauce and everything more like Americans do. like the immigrants did from early 1900s. So you go back to Italy, they don't cook pasta anywhere near the same way. It's totally different. But I like both ways. I actually did try a little bit of old school Italy style pasta and this stuff I grew up with as a kid because my grandma she made one heck of a good pasta. I'll say that. She made a lot of good food. My dad too.
I tried actual Italian pizza. It was more I would say it was more from Rome or kind of Greek influenced in a sense, I guess. But it was just a plain piece of bread with rose water and sugar. And that's what I was told was ancient pizza. And I was like, dude, this can't be appetizing. And I've tried stuff with rose water before, and I wasn't necessarily a fan. But I sat there and I ate this, and something about the rose water with the sugar and that fresh bread. And I was like, this is the best pizza I've ever had. And it's not loaded with cheese and all these other toppings.
Yeah.
It was fresh. It wasn't heavy. You didn't feel guilty eating it.
There you go.
And we got an Italian restaurant here too that an Italian family runs over here. Such a big difference from Americanized Italian food.
Yeah.
Such a big difference. You don't feel like you need to just go and get like a triple bypass after you've eaten in there. I guess it's because we have so many additives in our food in America.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I think it depends on where you go in America because, I mean, especially when it comes to pizza, like having gone to the South a couple times now, gone to Texas and Nashville, can't get good pizza down there. It's like, where's the good pizza? It's like, it doesn't exist. But I guess, apparently you go to like New York, you're going to find some good pizza in New York and Chicago. I mean, everybody, Chicago style pizzas. What do you call the Chicago?
A deep dish.
Deep dish. I mean,
that's
I love that.
But that's just like a bread bowl full of sauce and God knows what. It's just so heavy. And yeah, I mean, New York pizza's good, but
I've never been. I just hear about it. I've never actually been to New York yet, so I can't really totally comment on it. I'll tell you, we got good pizza here. We got great pizza here in Canada. We got at least 3 or 4 good pizza places in town. That's not like we have Domino's, obviously, and Pizza Hut and Little Caesars. I don't know if Little Caesars is a thing down there, but we have those pizza places here. But I can't eat that. I can't eat that stuff. I gotta eat real pizza. so we have the good pizza. So I'll pay the extra money for a good pizza. I'll just say that much.
I will say this about Canada. You all, because there's such a the community for Muslims and people from the Mediterranean and stuff, it's so, heavy there in pretty much in all of Canada, especially Toronto. The Jewish delicatessens or delis, you can get Middle Eastern food, and I love Middle Eastern food.
A lot of variety. You can get a lot of types of food here.
Love that stuff. And a good Jewish deli, you can't beat it. Good Jewish deli.
Exactly.
And they don't skimp you on the sandwiches with the meat. You get the sandwich, it's like 2 pieces of bread about that thick, and then it's like just pastrami, like that thick on the sandwich. And you're like, well, I got to go talk to the doc after eating this because I'm sure I've got a clogged artery.
Exactly. But enough about food, right?
Yeah.
Back to talking movies.
Yeah, I'm sitting here going, man, I'm hungry now. So back on Unseen, something I didn't ask you last time we talked about it, last time you were on here. And if we did, I apologize for asking it a second time. Was there a particular case that happened in your area or a particular movie per se that inspired you to write this movie?
Movie, sure. Black Christmas being that movie. And I won't get into too much detail, but I mean, I guess the one similarity that you'll notice even from like the concept teaser is it's a killer you don't see, and that's the big thing about Black Christmas is you don't see him. Uh, there are definitely some major differences though as far as who this person is. He's a very, I mean, our the killer in our film is a very different person from Billy was in Black Christmas. This person could be just like you or me, and he just we've all had that we've all probably experienced a time where we almost snapped, where we could see the dark side, where you could at least you felt like you could do the unthinkable. And this movie lets that play out. I'll just say that. What happens when you do truly go lose your mind, So when enough bad stuff happens to you where you just had the worst freaking day of your life, and it's like, what
It's
are you
kind of
gonna
like
do?
that Michael Douglas movie, Falling Down, in a
It
sense.
is. I've heard you aren't the first person to make that comparison. So it does. It was like Falling Down. I love that movie, but it was never an original. I was never originally influenced by it when I wrote the script. But when I realized it after, I was like, oh yeah, it's a lot like that. It does have a lot of parallels. But you know, uh, this movie again, I think the one thing that you're going to see with the Sawyer Massacre is the subtleties in the delivery. The bad guy in our film, he's very fleshed out, but you have to be paying attention big time. If you're not really paying attention to every little thing he says, every little thing he does, you might not realize who this guy is at all. You might think that you've seen the entire movie and you don't even know the guy's freaking name. But he has a name. He has a big personality. He has a big backstory, and it's all there in the movie. But you got to know where to look. It's one of those types of movies.
So it's kind of like a hit. You did it very Hitchcock.
I guess you could say that. I've been compared to Hitchcock a little bit. I am somewhat influenced by Hitchcock, but I would never say that Hitchcock has been like a major influence on me. But there's definitely some comparable stuff for sure when it comes to Hitchcock.
Well, Hitchcock liked, because I love Hitchcock. He liked his horror to not necessarily be seen. He liked it to all be very much implied, and the unknown of it is what was the scary part. Like the way you were describing your character, I was instantly thinking, okay, Norman Bates, who was a very meek individual who didn't come across as this violent psychopathic killer who, you know, what's her name? Jamie Lee Curtis's mom.
Janet Lee.
Yeah,
Janet Lee.
Janet Lee, come there, and that's exactly what she thought about him. But then we start seeing how he was peeking in on her and different things like that. So we're like, okay, well, he's a bit strange, but whatever.
Whatever.
And the first time I saw Psycho as a kid, I already knew about the shower scene. I kind of knew what was going to happen. But if you could transport yourself back to 1960, 61 ish, you got to think these people sitting in that theater who hadn't read the book or knew nothing about this movie. And all of a sudden they see this person in a wig coming there and they stabbing Janet Lee. That was terrifying as hell.
Oh yeah.
And then all of a sudden Norman runs in there and he's like, oh God, what happened? Because he had that psychosis where he had that split personality.
Yeah.
And that's what I got the feeling about your character for your movie when you were describing him.
I can't spoil too much, but let's just say that. I mean, we all have some shit, and that is a line in the movie. In Unseen, I'll spoil that for you. There's a line in the movie where one of the characters says, "We've all got some shit," and so I mean, it's just what kind of shit is going to. What are you gonna? What's going to push you over the edge and make that shit really come to life? And so I mean, it's ask yourself that before watching this movie. Put yourself in this person's shoes and ask yourself, what is the most horrible thing you could that you can't possibly do. Tell yourself you couldn't possibly see yourself doing this. If you can think of something that's just so terrible that you can't see yourself doing, but you're doing it. Now you're doing it, and then you're watching. You're in this guy's shoes, and you're seeing how his life is playing out after he's done something he doesn't believe he did.
I would like to say to everybody, and if you say that, no, I've never been that far, that either you are living a perfect life or you're just devoid of all emotion, which is a form of psychosis. It's basically being a psychopath where you have no emotion whatsoever, or no empathy, I should say. Sorry. Yeah. But everybody's been there. I can name a time when I've been that, not that I wanted to kill anybody, but just snap. And it was in my teenage years. I had a lot of things going on at home. I was in a situation that I didn't like being in. I acted out all the time, kept getting in trouble. And I literally got to that point where I was teetering on that edge of doing something stupid. But, I'm 49 now, and I can say, looking back, if I could go back and tell 18-year-old John, hey, you got a lot to look forward to, buddy. Knock that shit off.
Yeah. Exactly.
But,
yeah.
You live
now, obviously, if you're a person that's never seen that sort of dark side of yourself, if you've been able to live a pretty tame life and you've never seen that dark side of your own self, then this movie might not hit you very hard. I don't know. But if you have ever been close to the edge, if you've seen the edge, I think even if you've just seen it, this movie should hit pretty hard.
And even if you haven't, I'm sure you've probably seen someone in your life go that route. I have many times. One person, I'm not going to say his name on here, but just for reference, he served in the military with me. We went to 2 tours of Iraq together and came back home. And all of a sudden, he just started spiraling. His wife left him, took the kids, all this stuff. He ended up getting kicked out of the Army. And then about 2 years ago, we all got a message on Facebook from, one of my old buddies, I guess, stayed in contact with him, and his sister had messaged him and said that they found him dead.
There you go.
It just, sometimes you can catch them and help them, and sometimes they just, it happens. So people could deal with things better than others.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but I don't make the movies like this to try to sugarcoat life. There's some dark, depressing stuff that happens in life, and I think more than anything, it's healthy for us to see that it's there. That there is this dark, that nobody is a perfectly 100% good in every way, and that everybody has happy joy time all the time, lives the perfect life, lives on the cleanest neighborhood, number 1 happy street, as Steve Martin lived on in a movie that he was in. What movie was that? It was My Blue Heaven. Like, what the frig is the address here? I don't know. Number 1 happy street.
I love that movie. Him and Rick Moranis had such a great chemistry together. And I miss Rick Moranis, but also admire him because after his wife passed away, he said, "You know what? I'm done with acting. I'm going to go be with my kids." So I admired that. Yeah. But I wanted to see him as Louis Tully so bad in the new Ghostbusters movies. I was like, just this once, man. Just give us Louis Tully one more time, please.
It would be good. I think if I did want to see a return from Rick Moranis, if there's one thing I'd love to see him do again, one character I'd love to see him play again, Dark Helmet. Spaceballs 2. Give us Spaceballs 2. The search for more money. I've been wanting it for geez, goddamn, nearly 40 years now. 37 years 37 years since Spaceballs came out. I
Yeah,
haven't watched it.
Mel Brooks is still
I know.
alive, but
He's
I
still
don't know.
alive. He's pretty old though.
I don't know if he could sit down and
Why
direct.
not?
Which, to be fair, Clint Eastwood's in his 90s and he still
Yeah.
directs. So,
You
but Clint
never know.
Eastwood's not human. There's no way.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
some. I love that, and that's Clint Eastwood's one of my top 5 favorite actors, especially his old Sergio Leone's spaghetti westerns that he
Exactly.
made back in the day.
Yeah.
I love this.
The
Just the
the
sound,
Dollars trilogy.
yep, just the soundtrack alone, I love,
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah.
and just the use of sound overall, like the high tension parts where all the guys, the bad guy and the man with no name are doing a standoff.
Yeah.
There's never any music, and they amplify the sound of the wind blowing through the town to kind of build the tension. God, Sergio Leone was so good with that stuff.
Yeah. Great stuff.
Yeah, they don't make them like that anymore.
Definitely not.
But that's the thing I've noticed with you outside of the Sawyer Massacre. That's kind of a theme with you. You like dealing with people with the mental health aspect of showing the dark side, but without exploiting it, kind of showing like this is what can happen. This can really happen. This is not fiction. Things like this can happen in your little town and you never even see it coming.
Yeah. We're all good people until we're not.
Yeah.
It's kind of the thing we're going, because man, I've known good people that all, you hear of different tragedies all the time, and like, what, this guy did what? I knew this guy. You hear this all the time. There's no way that this person was a psycho or whatever, right? It's just, I think sometimes if you get pushed over the edge, it's you're capable of doing anything. I think everybody has that to them, to an extent. Some more than others, obviously, but even the best of us, we have our dark sides. So and some people say will say to me, why do you need to tell us we're all bad or something like that? Well, it's not telling us that we're all bad. It's showing that it's making ourselves more aware of who we are, that we make us all know that we have this. Like, well, horror movies are always looked at as something that's exploiting all the badness and creating more badness for people. Now people are going to watch my movie and now they're going to want to be this bad person. I don't know. I don't buy into that. I know some people do. I don't buy into that. So I think at the end of the day, I think even Gunnar Hansen said that in that family portrait history. What did he say exactly? He said the people want to blame us for the people want to blame the horror movies for their misery, but the misery is already there. The movie's just using that misery to show you that it exists. That it's not, that it's to hopefully help you understand it more than anything else. And if you understand the dark side, then you can possibly control it better.
It's that kind of like that. I forget. It's like you now. I'm forgetting, but there was a saying I heard that somebody said that monsters ain't only under your bed. Sometimes they're right next door.
Yeah, exactly.
And you look at cases like John Wayne Gacy. This dude was a successful businessman that was like part of the community, had ran for like city office and different things. I think he even was like a district manager for Kentucky Fried Chicken and was married and I think had kids. Then you had Ted Bundy, who was a successful businessman and very intelligent and very suave and charismatic. And it's the complete opposite of what you would think a serial killer would be, like a Jeffrey Dahmer who lived. He was very unkempt and just had a weirdness about him, or Ed Gein or Robert Pickton, that man you've talked about many times. So you flip that and you take Gacy and you take Bundy, and it's like, wow, I can't believe that they would do something like that. They were so upstanding in the community. You never know what a person has in the back of their brain going on.
You never know. so, anyways, yeah. I mean, again, I don't want to spoil too much of the movie, but that's sort of the gist of what we're trying to capture with this movie, and kind of like, again, like Black Christmas and other. I don't want to say it's done as an homage, but I guess it could be looked at that way. Is the fact that we're using a lot of POV shots from the killer's perspective in our movie, to really just get you in his mind, to make you feel like you're the killer. I think that was really the main idea of why to do so many POV type of shots in the movie.
I don't think this is me just standing on my soapbox, but man, I tell you, I don't think Black Christmas gets enough credit for just how good and how influential it is. From the standpoint, it was an indie movie made in Canada for little to no money, and it was a slasher, but it was so good. I would say, to me, it's almost better than Halloween from '78. And I know people are going to be coming after me with pitchforks lit and or torches lit and pitchforks, but it told the story so well. The pacing was so good. They didn't overstep everything for the sake of making a splatter flick or anything to that degree. And it's just one that you can keep going back to. And
and the characters overall. I mean, I think that's probably the part where I like Black Christmas just a little more than Halloween. Is the characters, to me, are better than the ones you got in Halloween. Like, you got, I mean, I love Jamie Lee Curtis. I mean, I can't. No, that's a lie. I like Jamie Lee Curtis. I think she's fine. I don't think that she was that great in Halloween. I thought some of her screams towards the end felt pretty forced, but she's okay. And that was her first acting role, so you're not too hard on her. But over the years, I've seen enough of her work to say I think she's okay. I don't think she's great by any means. So I think she's good. And the other girls, they're like I'm not necessarily knocking their acting either. It's kind of their characters are not really that interesting to me. Linda and I don't know. I didn't find them to be that great. Whereas I loved all the characters in Black Christmas. I thought they were all interesting characters. But I don't know. It's I guess that can be a bit subjective. But to me, that's probably why I would put Black Christmas a little bit above Halloween. Like, for me, it's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Black Christmas, Halloween, my top three. Easily. Top three horror films, anyways. Not top three films of all time, top three horror films.
Mine is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, and it's kind of a toss-up between American Werewolf in London and 1941, The Wolf Man with Lon Chaney Jr. It's kind of a toss-up between those two, because you got the sentimental protagonist / antagonist, because he's embodying both, and you kind of feel bad for him in both of those films. But with Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, I'm just a huge nerd for German expressionist films, and from that time period of they weren't the talkie pictures yet; they were just silent movies. And Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, that thing being 103 years old now. Pretty old. I can still just sit down and watch that thing from beginning to end.
It's been a while since I've seen that. That was one of the suggestions. I did Werner Herzog's masterclass back about 8 or 9 years ago, and that was one of the movies he said to make sure you watch. So that was when we sat and watched all these black and white silent films. And I think the big thing about those movies is, yes, they didn't rely on dialogue. They had the text after dialogue was said, but I think the music, the music that was playing really captured the emotions, and you kind of almost know what they're saying based on the music quite a bit. So whoever was doing the music for those movies back then, hats off to them, because I mean, obviously they're dead now, but but great. But that's amazing when you do music, do that with music. That the
Now this
ability
is
to do that is phenomenal.
this is what my grandfather told me because he lived in that period. He was a little boy at that time.
Mm.
He said back then you got the movie, and then at the front of the theater you had a pianist or an organist, I should say,
Yeah.
like you do at a hockey game, right? So this organist would sit up there at the front of the theater, and while they played the movie, she would have the sheet music that would come with the movie, so
Oh,
she
okay.
could play for each scene, and it was just the most.
Wow.
I'm like, dude, I wish I could just go back in time and just see that.
That would have been
Just
amazing.
be,
That would have been awesome. Yeah, it makes sense that that's how they would do it. I already kind of knew that because they did that in the movie Three Amigos, because that
mm-hmm,
took place in the 1915 or something, like 100 years
yeah.
ago at least. Anyways, it took place at that time, and they were actors in that movie, and they're watching one of their movies in the theater, and you see the accompanist playing piano to their scenes, and it's like, okay, that's what old movies were like, and
And
it's
because of the
very
black and
accurate.
white, they
Yeah,
had to put the rosy cheeks and the lipstick
yeah,
on and
I
all
love
that
it.
stuff.
It's great. It's great.
I'm just a nerd for them old silent films like Metropolis and Hunchback of Notre Dame, Phantom of the Opera, just to name a few. The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari I hold so hot, just up there because it was post World War One, and Germany was in really bad shape financially, which is why they got taken over by the Nazi Party in World War II. All took place because they were just looking for that hope, that one hero that would come along and save them from being so destitute. But yeah, just the fact that they pulled that movie off for that time period and what they were going through financially as a country,
Yeah.
and it was kind of blacklisted for a lot of countries because of the war that had
Oh, I
took
can
place
imagine.
prior. So there was a lot of restrictions on it. But yeah, I mean, I own a VHS of it. I own a Blu-ray of it.
Wow.
I mean, I still, it's one of those that I go back at and I look at and I tell people, like, if you wouldn't want to make a movie, be a director, or even be an actor, watch this flick, study it. It's got everything you want without a bit of dialogue, and it's got a nice twist ending at the end, which I thought was incredible.
Yeah. There you go.
But I'm sorry, I'm nerding out over that.
Oh, that's what we're here for, right? I can't
But
even see the chat. Do we have people in the chat or anything? I don't.
yeah, they pop in and pop out, but I haven't
I,
really. I guess maybe we're keeping them so entertained they haven't really said anything.
well, feel free to
But
ask questions, because I haven't been on a live stream since long before shooting my movie, before shooting Unseen. It's been like a year since I've done a live stream of any kind. So you guys probably got questions. If you got questions, feel free to ask. It's
yeah, I'll put it
good
up on the
chance.
screen for y'all. But did you have any trouble with catering this go around?
No, catering was a breeze this time around. We had a great catering company do our catering for us. What are they called again? Oh, geez, I totally forgot the name of them. Deli City Cafe. Deli City, yes. Deli City Cafe did our catering. Reasonably priced. Everybody loved the food. So I was very happy with that. Very happy. Catering was good.
When you're
Definitely not one of
shooting,
the issues. Definitely not one of the issues we had on this one. The biggest issues were losing actors, and locations were kind of the big. And like we had already started filming. We were already in our first week of filming, and we're less than a week away from filming this. We had 2 scenes to film at this one location that was very specific, to what we needed. And I got this email saying, we're not going to let you film here anymore. We're like, we're supposed to be there in less than a week. How am I supposed to find this specific location in less than a week that matches these specific needs I have? And
Did
it
they
was
give
like,
a reason?
they didn't. They didn't. I was like, what was the I asked them. I was like, in the email I said, this is outrageous. You can't just do this like this. We had a deal and all this kind of stuff, and they wouldn't respond to my email. So I just said, screw it. I'm gonna find something, and thank God I did. I found, and I had to look for 2 locations. So I ended up finding 2 different locations because one location was suitable for one specific scene, and the other one was suitable for another specific scene. So, but we needed those scenes. It was, I did think for a moment, can we find a way to lose these scenes? I'm like, well, this one's really important for a very big reason. And it was like, could we shoot it somewhere else? Is there possible that we could make this work in a different type of location?
Ain't
I
it
was
funny
thinking
how
about it.
ain't it funny how used to, if somebody gave you their word,
Yeah.
it was pretty concrete. Nowadays it's like you gotta almost have it in writing anymore just to make sure that it's legit.
Yeah.
You know,
It was tricky. But yeah, you know what? We made it. At the end of the day, movies like this probably shouldn't really get made, but somehow we pull it off. If there's a will, there's a way. Uh, you know, again, both the Sawyer Massacre and this one were hard for different reasons. Uh, if I had to pick which one was harder, I'd still probably say the Sawyer Massacre, though, because man, just thinking of all the crap we had to go through. I mean, the night before filming, and we needed these vehicles for our shoot, and because we were supposed to have 5 old vehicles, and the production manager takes me down like an hour drive to God knows where, Texas. I've never driven in this area. We're gonna pick up these cars. We're gonna pick up these old cars. You're gonna be driving a 1950s. I can't even remember what the hell the damn car was. But I got in this damn thing. I can at least say I drove whatever the hell car that was. It was a classic car, but
was it manual where you had to shift it on the
no,
column?
oh, it
Okay.
wasn't. But it was. It had I think it was an alternator problem. I think. So I got it to the gas. I drove it as far as the gas station. I think because they were gassing up the truck that we used in the movie. They're gassing that up, and I was waiting them so I could follow them home because I had no idea how to get back to to where we were staying. So I need to follow you guys. So I hung out there at the gas station, and then when I went to start it back up, it wouldn't start. We had to call the people who own the car. Luckily, they're just down the road. Like, yeah, I think I'm not going to drive this thing, even if they can get it started. It's just I'm so scared to drive this freaking thing. I'm going to find a way to make it work with just 4 cars instead of 5. I think we can find a way. And then on the first day of filming, somebody else backs out, or just pulled a no-show is basically what it was. And that was shooting at the gas station. So, I mean, we're supposed to have more cars at that gas station. And I think we only had the Cadillac that day. I think. Yeah, I think the only car that actually showed up was the Cadillac. Oh, and the truck. We had the truck, sorry. But luckily the owner of that gas station had all those vintage cars just kind of hanging around outside. So at least it made it look kind of, but you're supposed to see our main characters pull up to the gas station and get out of a car, whereas we just see them kind of walk around the corner, and that was it. And same with the other characters there, the couple. You never actually see their vehicle in that scene because we didn't have a car for them yet. I was on the horn with all kinds of people that day trying to find another car for them to use for the other scenes that they were in. Thankfully, we did. I don't think it was that expensive. I think it was $500 I had to pay for that car. But I couldn't make the movie without it. I had to have it. It was a must. And everything else we just kind of we winged it. We winged it. We made it
And
work.
then you had Scotty getting pulled over by the
Oh.
cops dressed as Leatherface.
Yeah, that didn't help. But I mean, there was just so many things that went wrong filming that movie. It is a miracle that we pulled it. The weather, we had the worst weather I could imagine. We lost a day of filming because of the weather, and we had to really make up a lot of ground. It's a miracle we pulled off that movie. But you know what? This was a hard movie too. I just had to really think a lot, and I think going in, I knew this was going to be a tough movie to make. I definitely don't write scripts that are good for $30,000 budgets. I'll tell you that much. But if there's a will, there's a way, and we made it work. And I'm pretty happy with the way the movie's cut together. And once I get the sound and a couple of extra pickup shots done, man, we're gonna be rolling. We're gonna be rolling. I'm gonna be super happy. I just know it. And
How
hopefully
about
you guys will like it.
did you get a ADR taken care of already? Or
We haven't got Jamie Hills, although I did the ADR on the actress who plays Ashley, and that was who Felissa Rose was supposed to play. So we did her ADR, and the reason why we had to do ADR, I hate ADR. Anybody who's done ADR feels my pain. We had to do ADR though because there was construction going on while we were shooting this scene, and it was the only day we could film this scene because Jamie Hill was flying in from Edmonton, and she had like 2 hours to shoot her scene. So the flight was booked. There was no turning back. I tried to get the construction crew to stop working for a couple hours while we filmed. It was not happening. And this was the very, very first scene we shot in the entire movie, in fact. And it seemed like everything was going wrong. We started filming it, and about a half hour into filming, it hails. It's just hail just starts coming down like crazy. I was like, what? You start thinking, are we freaking cursed on this movie or something? So it was like, change of plans. We're going to move everything underneath the awning so that we don't get hail on us. And we're going to shoot the entire scene there because we were supposed to be Jamie Hill's character at the front door. And then Ashley comes behind and she's on the street because she came over. So, but we changed it. And there's one funny little thing that I'm trying to work around the cutting. But you know what? I'm probably just being overly picky because everybody that's seen it doesn't even pick up on this one little mistake that we have. It's not really a mistake. It's just kind of awkward looking to me. So technically it's not a mistake. It just looks weird to me because, we had to switch everything to underneath the awning in this one scene. But, I added some footsteps in. God, I'm getting sick of recording footsteps. I'll tell you that. When you're doing Foley, man, that is tedious. Recording footsteps. I don't care what anybody says. And the thing is, you have to get different types of footsteps on different types of surfaces, different types of shoes being worn, and it's like, I don't know. It feels like it's never ending. The footsteps. I'm getting so tired of doing that in the sound department, but it's necessary.
You're like, man, I wish I had a budget to get me a sound guy just to come in and do all this stuff.
Well, you need an extra sound guy for that, it's because when you hire a sound guy, they're picking up the voices of the actors more than anything else. And sometimes when a room has a specific sound that they like, they'll say, give me 10, 15 seconds of room tone. So everybody be silent for 10 to 15 seconds. And we got room tone, or we got, good, if we had good sound outside and we heard crickets chirping and stuff like that, that sounded cool to the sound guy. The sound guy would say that, let's get that so that we can place that behind as ambience, But that's it. I mean, the sound guy's job is to get the actor's voice, nothing else really. because I mean that's that's a lot to do. I'm sure nowadays they have enough technology that they can put several mics on. They can put mics on people's feet and stuff like that, and do it so that they're not going to make sounds, brushing sounds against the mic or whatever. They probably have high quality mics that can handle that, but that's the big budget stuff right there. So when we hire a sound guy, it's not cheap, and they're doing one specific job, and that's capturing the actor's voice. And if you have bad sound for the scene like we did, ADR necessary.
The one documentary I watched not that long ago, it was a Star Wars documentary, but it was about the sound of Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
And it was Ben Burt.
Yep.
George Lucas's longtime sound guy. And that cat just walks around with this little recorder on his side with this little microphone and just like, ooh, I like that sound. What if I do this? And he goes over like the blaster sound is taking a wrench to the suspension cables for a radio tower. And he just takes a wrench and puts the microphone on the cable and hits it. Yeah. And that's how you got Han Solo's blaster sound. It was the craziest thing. He's like, oh, sense. I just stumble onto these sounds and stuff all the time. Yeah.
Sometimes you do. I've been lucky enough to stumble on onto some cool sounds for certain things here and there. So it's whether you have the patience for it though too. At the same time, it's like sometimes I'll be goofing around the house and like my wife has this water bottle that makes a kind of a bang it against something. It makes kind of like a bell sound almost. It's kind of sounded eerie. Record it and play around with some pitch stuff, a little bit. Like I love playing around with pitch shifting and stuff like that, just to see what things are going to sound like when you put it through that kind of processing. But and sometimes you get some pretty cool stuff, So yeah, I just play with every little thing I have, anything that I can. That makes a sound that's interesting, I just go ahead and do it. I record it and see what I come up with. And some of the sounds you hear in the Sawyer Massacre are definitely just random weird sounds that I record. I think the scene in the scene in Sawyer Massacre where Nika's in the woods and she's looking around for Leatherface and he's like nowhere to be seen, and you hear these little kind of screeches. Those screeches were a dumpster. They were a dumpster lid. I was closing it slowly. I was closing it fast, and the screeches were different every time. So I just recorded multiple screeches, and then I just changed the pitches on them. I changed a lot of pitches, and they created some interesting sound. I layered them a lot. I did some at a pitch higher, did some at a pitch lower, and some at the even pitch, and just you'd be surprised what kind of neat sounds you can get from that. From just finding shit that makes sound. I
did that thing last week sometime with a Red Bull can. It got empty and I dropped it into my drink holder in my car and it just made this ding noise, kind of like your wife's water bottle. And it was just a unique sound to me. I was like, ooh, that's kind of cool. So I kept trying to drop it again, try to get it to do it again. It never would. I was like, maybe it was just one of the things. I just dropped it a certain way and it made that little echoey drip sound almost.
Yeah.
It was like a doing. And I was like, oh, that was cool. And so here I am, this idiot sitting in his car, dropping a can, trying to make that sound again because I just thought it was cool sounding.
There you go. That's awesome.
So how long you think you got until you actually are done and ready to release this thing?
I'd like to be done now, but unfortunately I'm waiting on people. So I mean, I just have to, I have to be patient and wait. I'm waiting on Jamie for her ADR, although part of me is like, maybe her audio is not that bad. I'm actually not too disappointed because that was the construction that we had. Part of me is like, I think the worst of it was Tammy's Tammy's audio, and we did her ADR already. So part of me is like wondering if we really need it. And I'm waiting for Joe on some certain graphics that I need for a certain shot. I'm waiting on a few things, but yeah, it's just and then just finishing up the sound. I have to get approval of the cut before I can actually mix the sound. So it's just a lot of stuff has to come together first, and then I'd be able to give you a more definitive answer. And even when it's done, I've never sold a movie before. I've heard that it could take up to 2 years. I hope it's not going to take that long, but at the end of the day, I got to be patient. If there's a chance this movie could do something big, I got to be patient. So I've never dealt with distribution before, and this will be a whole new ride for me. And hopefully it'll be a good one. I have heard some horror stories though, so I know I got to be pretty careful. Careful.
Well, you got Vinegar Syndrome out there. They do some distribution, but I mean, they do some newer stuff. I don't necessarily. They do have some newer stuff, but most of the stuff they do is they do a lot of restoration on old films.
Oh. Well, we have a letter of interest from a distributor. I won't get into who and all that kind of stuff at this point, but we have a letter of interest, so that is going to help. But a letter of interest is not an official distribution deal or anything like that. So we're optimistic. I'm pretty optimistic, but again, at the end of the day, I might be wearing rose-colored glasses with this movie because it's my movie, and I might think it's better than it actually is. I'll see what the producers say once we have a final cut, and there's still a lot of stuff that needs to be done. I can't wait to start scoring it. I mean, I have composed a little bit of music for it already, music that we put in the teasers and stuff like that. So I definitely have some music already, but I know that there's a lot of other. I have a lot of other ideas for music, and I just can't wait to put it all in.
Well, I do know you could go through Screambox. That's a all horror movie streaming service.
I've heard of that, yeah.
You've got Freebie and Tubi, and it's not necessarily distribution; it's streaming, kind of like YouTube. I think you'll get ad revenue from it and different things like that for when it's viewed and so forth. I mean, that's a stream that you can get some money for it, I guess.
That's a worst. If worst comes to worst, then that's what we'll do. But I'm not. I didn't make this movie to think, oh God, I hope I'll make hundreds of dollars on this movie. Maybe thousands. I don't know, but especially when it cost me, we put at least a good $10,000-$15,000.
Well, that wasn't what I was saying, that you made it just for money. I'm sorry if I came across that way. It was
no, definitely not. But if I can make money off of it, I certainly will. Though that's the thing,
I want you to at least make back what you put into it and at least break even.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice. I'll be happy. I'll be a happy camper if that happens. But again, I'm not counting on anything. I know for a fact that movies like this are pretty niche. They have an audience, but it's not necessarily the biggest audience either. So, it's not Terrifier, guys. I didn't make the next Terrifier for you. I hope you're not expecting that. I'm not. I think I've always been pretty adamant that I'm not a gore fiend, and this movie is really not that gory. That's for sure.
Well, I've got my own views on the Terrifier.
I've only seen the first Terrifier movie. I thought it was okay. I didn't love it, but I thought, I thought this was a movie made around the same budget that I'm making these movies at. It's roughly around the same. It's maybe a tad more. I don't know, 35, 40 grand or something. They're making these. It's comparable to what we're making these movies, and the fact that they look as good as they do. I mean, obviously they must have a good cinematographer. They must have, whoever is doing the cinematography on their films is doing a good job because they look really good. They look like big movies. But I think story wise, they're not really grasping me that much though. And hey, dudes,
It's another
and
fellow filmmaker, Morgan Wellborn. He's the one that
Morgan Welborn.
did the Helvira movie and stuff not
Yeah,
too long ago.
that was a good movie. I saw that one. It was good. I liked it. What was I saying again?
That's you about how you wasn't making this for gore hounds.
Yeah, I mean it's look, it's that type of movie just doesn't really appeal to me at the end of the day. So, congrats to the guys that made the Terrifier movies. They've done fantastic. I really, if I could achieve an ounce of their success, I'll be a happy guy. I'll say that much.
This is what I
Uh,
like about them, and I made this public and got burned for it. I've had people write me nasty messages and stuff on social media. Whatever, I don't care. It's my personal feeling.
mhm.
I am happy that those movies got made from the standpoint of it shows that an independent film could go to a theater and kill it in the box office without a big studio behind them.
That is true. That is exactly true.
Because that thing kicked everybody's ass and it really kind of opened the curtains, if you will, of to the big studios going, oh shit, these indie guys are starting to make better movies than we're making or more profitable movies. The only thing I got a problem with the Terrifier movies is I'm not feeling there's any character development, and it's just gore scene after gore scene after gore scene after gore scene after gore scene. And it's like, I'm down for that to an extent, but I need some kind of story. Let's build a lore here. Let's do something with it. Make something that I want to go back and watch again and again and again. Not just a roller coaster
Yeah,
ride that I rode it once and I got the T-shirt and I'll never ride it again kind of deal.
yeah, I
That was
hear
my
you.
other thing. I never shit on them and said that they were terrible.
That they a lot of people like them, and that's cool. And I didn't hate the first Terrifier movie. I thought it was okay. It just the gore stuff wasn't for me, and I felt like there was some story stuff that could have been better. There was some definitely some filler in there. It's like the one scene where the clown, Art the clown, whatever, Terrifier, whatever you want to call him, is gonna shoot the girl, and you figure, okay, he's gonna shoot her. That's it for her, and well, there's no bullets in the gun. So it's like, okay, this must be a chance for her to get away. Okay, so she is gonna make it to the end, and then he comes back and shoots her. So it's like, what was the whole point of that whole bit? Was it just to fill time? Oh, because I mean, the same result happened anyways. You could have lost all of that, and it wouldn't have made a difference. You just delayed the inevitable. If you're just delaying the inevitable just for the sake, just I don't know, that kind of bothered me. That was one scene that really kind of like, what was the point of that? If there was a point that I missed, please point it out to me. Maybe there was a point to him running out of bullets at that time. Yeah,
The
because at the time you're
biggest
thinking it's for her to get away. She's okay. This is her chance to, but nothing happens. She stays there, kind of. I guess she was already kind of half dead, anyways. But
My biggest gripe with that movie and others, to include Halloween and Friday the 13th and different ones, is with my slasher villains. I don't want them being supernatural. I don't. I don't want to be no elements of magic behind them. For Freddy, it works because uh, Wes Craven explained that. He was a soul that went to hell, made a pact with some demons, and now he haunts people's dreams. But when you got like Art the Clown can teleport around like Jason Voorhees, and even when Jason Voorhees started doing that crap, I thought it was stupid. I like the slasher villain to have a bit of a vulnerability to them,
yeah,
where there's a chance that you could get away from them or hurt them to a degree or something like that. But it seemed like as these Terrifier movies went along, it got more supernatural and more supernatural. And I
Yeah.
was like, I'm good. Done. I mean, if that's your thing, that's your thing. It's just one guy
Yeah.
making
You
an
know.
assessment out of millions who obviously like it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
We all
I
don't
mean,
have to like everything just because
exactly.
Everybody else likes it.
Because everybody else, exactly. You know, I mean, I think, man, there's so many films that I like that people don't like, and then there's the opposite, the films that I despise that everybody seems to love. I'm like, okay, it's just, you know, there's a preference at the end of the day, and you know, I have my preferences, that's for sure. You know, it's my taste in movies is definitely not for everybody. I'm the guy that likes Rocky Five. You know, everybody gets on me for that. I do. I like Rocky. I don't get what they hate. What the hate is on that movie. It was a different story. I kind of like putting him back in his humble beginning. You know, I don't know. I still don't get why people hate Rocky Five as much as they do.
The down and out boxer who lost everything and wanted another bite at the apple, so he kind of made a deal with the devil and brought this kid in and started training him, and then the kid started listening to a Don King sort of promoter, and that became Rocky's new adversary. And there's this guy with post-concussion syndrome and all this other stuff going on, and he's got a fist fight this dude. It's got everything there. It's got the plot, what the conflict's going to be, how are you going to deal with this conflict, and the resolution. Roll
And
credits.
And the father and son aspect, maybe I like that a little more.
Yeah.
And that was actually his Stallone's son, who unfortunately I heard passed away.
Yeah.
And so did Tommy Moore. But I think if there's a weak point, Tommy Morrison's acting was not the greatest.
Well, he was a professional boxer, so
yeah.
I mean,
so I get that, but you know, beyond that, I don't know. I thought it was a really good story. I thought it was well written. I thought it was different than the other Rocky movies. It was, you know, by Rocky 4, you just kind of feel like they're doing the same movie over and over again. Rocky 3 and Rocky 4, to me, those two, I like Rocky 4 for some reasons. There's certain things about Rocky 4 I like. Rocky 3 I don't like at all. I can't watch that one. I know a lot of people love that one. Oh, Eye of the Tiger and all that stuff, but I feel like that one feels the furthest from Rocky to me. But I don't know. It's I never hear the end of it with Rocky 5. So you tell me you don't hate that one?
no, I don't.
Oh, you're one of the few, I think, man. It's because I don't know. I get a lot of flack
But
for loving that movie.
I understand it for what it is. You're talking about a guy. He was up here on the top of the mountain as a boxer, multi-millionaire, world champion. Go on and on and on. But he didn't manage his money well, and he overspent, did a lot of things he shouldn't have done, made bad business decisions, and he went back down into the ghettos of Philadelphia, and he just wanted another bite at the apple and another way to get back up to the top of the mountain again. And he saw that in that kid.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is he's not realizing he's got everything he needs. He's got Adrian, and he's got his son. He doesn't need anything else. He's got his family.
Those are the only things that matter at the end of the day, right?
And that's what the whole movie is basically about.
Yeah.
You're not seeing what you already have. You're too worried about what you don't have.
Yeah, exactly. You said it well, my friend. I couldn't agree more. I can't believe I met another person on this planet that doesn't hate that movie. It's the one movie I think I'll never quite understand why it gets so much hate. I mean,
love
a couple others, but you know,
I'm an '80s kid. Everybody loves Stallone. I mean, if you hated Stallone, you just wasn't an American or Canadian or whatever, you know. But
I can't see the comments, John. How many people are in the comments saying, "What? You like that stupid movie?"
No, not yet.
Yeah, really. I don't know. Is Morgan the only person in the?
No, we got 3 watchers. We're just all being quiet at the moment.
Oh, okay. You guys
ask questions if y'all got anything you want to ask Steve or ask me. I don't know what y'all would want to know about me, but you know, ask away.
To recap, we're talking about my last movie that I made called Unseen. It hasn't come out yet. I don't know when it'll be out, but we're in post-production. We do have a rough cut of the film. I'm working on the sound. Waiting on a couple of people to get me some shots that I need and some sound that I need. And yeah, it's coming together though.
And the Indiegogo, if y'all are interested, still
Oh yeah,
going on,
it's
and the
still going
descript
on.
and the link to that is down in the description of this live stream.
And by donating to that, you can help me get out of debt a little bit. Contribute to me getting out of debt because I put all the money I pretty much have into this movie.
Help me feed my
Help me
kids.
feed my kids. No, I
We're
mean,
starving.
uh, they'll live.
But no,
They'll eat craft dinner for the next 2 years, and that'll be
hey,
good.
that craft dinner hits, man. I ain't gonna lie. I was a poor kid that grew up on food stamps, man. There ain't nothing like that craft box spaghetti and that craft macaroni and cheese. I could
It's
write a cookbook with that stuff.
it's not the healthiest for you, but
I
congrats
was
on
gonna
your
say,
thanks, man. Congratulate me though when it's done. I got so much work to do still. As I mentioned earlier, I don't know if you're in the chat for that earlier, Morgan. I mentioned all the footsteps I'm recording right now. And of course, I'm doing it all myself because I can't afford to hire anybody to help me with that kind of stuff.
I
I'm
could
doing
do you some.
all the Foley and all the sound editing, all the music. Oh man, it's a
I
lot of
got
work.
wood. I got wood floors, metal floors, and stuff in my shop that I work for. If you want me to record you some footsteps, I can.
There you go. Do it, man. Yeah,
If you
it's
want,
all the different surfaces. I had to find something that made well for a thin rug. There's certain rugs. There's thicker rugs, and there's these little tiny thin rugs that are like they're almost like sheets of paper on the floor, almost. So they're really thin, so they have a certain sound when you walk on them. So I couldn't just. I had to find something that was just right for it. And I think I found it. I think it's working, but at the same time, it's like, is that right? And you start to second guess yourself so much. You really do. I keep like, is that the right sound I need for that? And when you do it so much, you start to just you get to that point where you definitely know you have to take a day off. You take a day off. Okay, I need to clear my brain and just go back at this fresh. Oh, it's stressful, but you'll be proud of it when it's. Oh, definitely, definitely. I'll be a happy camper.
preach, Morgan, preach the good word of the
You've
law.
been there. I know that you've been there. So
Shoot, I'm still in
been
the
there, done
early
that.
stages of trying to write a script, and I'm about to pull
Ah,
my hair out.
that in and of itself is a tough challenge. So yeah. So there you go. It's
Because
a,
I
it's
got,
quite a process making a movie, I guess. I sometimes wonder was this a good idea for me to get into all this? But hey, it's been quite an experience. I might never make a dime doing it, but at the end of the day, man, I went to Texas, I went to Nashville for the film festival. It's been something I can't. I'll never forget the experience at the end of the day. Whether I may ever make any money doing this or not. Because the experience alone is good enough, and meeting all the different people I've met, it's pretty special.
well, I will put this out there. I haven't really said this on live stream or really out in public. Me and Luke kind of kept it to ourselves pretty much, but we are trying to get a horror convention together over
Ooh,
here on Oahu, and we're trying. We don't want to go too big starting out, so we're trying to stay away from the Honolulu Convention Center because that's going to cost probably tens of thousands of dollars, and you're not going to
yeah,
get that on a first time go convention. So we're looking at some of the hotels around here that have big ballrooms and meeting room type, uh, almost like auditorium esque
yeah.
type
I hear you.
places. So we're looking at those and trying to get a rough estimate of how much that's going to cost and then who we could get. And me and Luke was sitting there thinking, he's like, you think Steve would come? I was like, yeah, I mean, we'd have to probably work something out because, he's married with 2 kids and he ain't making no money on these movies. So we need to, I said, best thing we could do is probably crowdfund this thing and figure out something that we could do to give to people that can't come here, like, hey, you give us $10, here you go, you get a DVDs and autograph stuff from these different movies that we'll have at this convention and different things. And yeah, that's been stressful. Me and him have been trying to plan that. And then I've been trying to write the movie. And I found it better to just write away from everybody, because when I was trying to write with all my friends around me, every one of them will get there and they're leaning over reading. They're going, well, can we do this and can we do that? I was like, man, you're not thinking that we have a budget here and it's not going to be a lot of money. I can't do the Death Star run. That's just not going to happen. I don't have ILM at my at my beck and call. And they're, because what we're making is going to be like Paranormal Activity meets Clerks. It's like every day in the life of Luke in his comic book store with me and our other friend, Donnie. Yeah, we have a Donnie too.
Yeah, there you go.
Like Big Lebowski.
Big Lebowski, yeah.
And off of that, we're going to have like a paranormal type aspect to it. And I'm sitting there going, how, is this going to be too outlandish to do for a first time go flick? Why don't we just go safe first and just make something, that we could put on YouTube and see how it does. And then if we want to come back later, do something else.
I mean, you can. I don't know. I haven't seen your script, John, so I don't know. But I mean, it always depends on if you're worried about budget and all that kind of stuff. The things you got to look at are how many characters, how many people you have to cast, how many locations you have to film at. Those are the big things that are going to eat at budget more than anything else. Because I mean, you got to think with cast. If you got a big cast, you got a lot of catering. If you, I don't know, it's just those things can really, really add up. If you're filming all in one location, man, that really saves time. And if it's in a controlled location, if it's something that you can really control the lighting very easily and all that kind of stuff, it's super. Like a big thing with our film. One of the big things with Unseen was that we had to wait for nighttime a lot. And here we shot it in April. In April, the sun doesn't go down till like 9 o'clock, so we primarily would be starting filming around 9 o'clock most nights, because most of this movie takes place at night. So that made it tough. And, the locations that we're filming at, they're not too keen on us staying there till freaking 5 a.m. or some damn thing. Right. So, you just do the best you can. If you can do that if you can control your environments, have a controlled place to shoot, it's going to make it that much easier. Yeah.
I would say 90% of that movie will be in his shop. I know the opening scene of it. I know I can film here at my apartment. I do know that. And, but then I have to worry about noise pollution, kind of tainting the recording, so to speak, because there is a lot of apartments around where I live, and I can't just go around to each person and be like, okay, you got to be quiet because I'm trying to shoot down here in my little apartment. So, but I do know I can shoot in here and I can control it in here per se. And I know what I want for that shot, basically. Yeah. But with the rest of it, I'm not really worried about catering so much, but it's the people that said that they would act in it. I've never seen them act, so I don't know if they can.
Well,
that's number one.
Audition them. Just because people say they can act, audition them. I'll just say that because I've been there, done that. Make them audition. Everybody's got to audition. I even actors I've worked with in the past, I make them audition. Because I don't know for sure if they're right for the role that that they're going for. I need to see if they're right for the role. I'm not going to cast them just because they're my friends. Don't do that. That's a big mistake. Make them audition. Make them I know times have changed. Getting them to sit in a room with you and do an audition, That seems to be tough. That seems to be a tough thing ever since COVID. But if you can, great. But if not, at least tell them they got to send in a video and send them their sides of the character, and make them send in. You got a week to perform this, to get me a video. And it's still not as good as in person, though. It's still, I don't know. Well, I've had some horror stories with the video auditions. I had one person pull a fast one on me, and I didn't realize it until it was too late. I won't get into the story. I don't know what. It's kind of a funny story, but
hey, tell it. We got time.
Well, I might have to tell it after because it's going to spoil stuff from Unseen.
Oh, okay.
If I tell it. But let's say she had to do something very specific for an audition. I had to make sure that this person could do this, and she sent me in her videotape, and I didn't know until I was on set, but she spliced multiple takes together to look like they were one. And
hey, you're looking for an editor.
Well, I know what you're saying. Anyways, yeah, because some people can do these specific things very well and other people can't. And I learned the hard way on that one. So needless to say, when we came time to shoot this, she could not do what I needed her to do.
The one thing I've got going for me is I know I've got a good cameraman, Luke. Luke has this innate, and he's never been a cameraman before, but he's done a lot of amateur photography and different things like that. But we did a commercial for his store one time.
Oh, yeah?
And he took an iPhone and managed to recreate Sam Raimi's shot from The Evil Dead, where
cool,
you see the going through the woods, the demons chasing the person through the woods. Yeah, it's such a simple shot, and Sam Raimi did it with 2x4s and I think it was like a roller skate or something to that effect. But Luke did it with an iPhone and just him, and managed to steady it and just run into his store without causing that shake. And I'm sitting there like, you're going to be my cameraman when I get this movie wrote. So I've already I got a cameraman. He's naturally got a talent to know what he's looking at and what he wants when he does his shots.
But is he going to really shoot it on an iPhone? I'm not saying you can't, but
I've already bought a relatively expensive Sony camera. Let's just say.
Okay.
So I've already got that. But
well, make sure he knows how to operate it, though.
I've got to give him a crash course on that. But
yeah, you will. He'll have to give it himself, or again, lots of tutorials online. But I had to learn the camera that we filmed on as well, because I wasn't the cameraman on the film, but I still had to learn it for all the second unit pickup shots that I did. But basically, it was really just me, because when you're shooting in the middle of principal photography, there's a lot of shots you're not thinking about getting, because you're just so focused on getting all the stuff with the actors in it. So there's little things that you just don't get. So I had to get those after the fact, and I'm still gonna have at least one more I have to get. Probably two more. I've got two things I still have to get. I'm gonna get them both at once, and I'll be able to shoot them right here in my own house, which is convenient. But I just have to wait for the graphics from Joe. Where's Joe? He's not in the chat, eh? My graphics.
Word. Who's this? Morgan. They say everything I know about filming I learned on YouTube. Yes.
There you go. Yeah, I learned a lot on YouTube, that's for sure. But at the end of the day, I'm not a camera guy, but I had to learn how to use the Canon C70, which is what we used, and once you get the hang of it, it's a good camera. I'll say that. I would recommend anyone to shoot on that camera. It definitely had the right look that I wanted for our film, which was good. Yeah, I can't complain. That's for sure.
A lot of what I've learned has come from guys like you, some YouTube and a lot of Lloyd Kaufman trauma movies. I've learned a lot from Lloyd Kaufman. Believe it or not, I have.
Well, there you go.
Because Lloyd Kaufman is the king of taking nothing and making something out of it. That's for damn sure.
Definitely.
But yeah, I mean, the movie I want to make is one that I was talking with you about. The pig farmer serial killer in Canada. That's the movie I want to make.
That'd be cool. And nobody's done it yet, eh? I'm surprised nobody's done it yet. I did see one on, we had another guy here, Shannon Murin, who I don't know whatever happened with that guy. He was supposedly killed this little girl many years ago, Mindy Tran, in well, I don't remember if she lived in my hometown, but her body was found in my hometown at Mission Creek Park somewhere. So that was really disturbing. She was like 9-year-old girl, and this guy Shannon Murin was apparently the guy that killed her. And I saw a movie based on him and based on the cops that were trying to catch him, I guess you would say. I think Lachlan Monroe was in that. You guys know who Lachlan Monroe is? He's a Canadian. He's a fellow Canadian actor.
No,
you would know him if you saw him. He was in Scary Movie and
okay.
Dead Man on Campus. Ever seen that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's the crazy guy, Cliff O'Malley. You know that guy. I got some beers. Let's drink them. That guy. That one's not beer. The guy's drinking beers. That one's not beer. That guy. Anyway, yeah.
I've been trying to get up with the detective that actually worked the Picton case. So I was having the hardest time trying to figure out, where she was at and all this and so on and so forth. Luckily, found out she's no longer a she. She's transgender now and has become a man, and that's why I was having a hard time. But I've been trying to figure out a point of contact so I can get up with him and have him come on the podcast, because I really want to talk about that case and how he broke it when he was working it, and what led him to Picton and how that whole thing unfolded, because Picton for a long time got away with it.
Oh yeah.
I think it was like 20 years before anybody ever caught him.
Yeah.
And they said that when they tried him, I think it was like they convicted him on, I think it was 20 murders. But according to this detective, there was way more than that.
Ooh.
That he didn't get convicted for because they didn't have enough evidence to say that he was the killer. But still, 20?
That's and he was brutal.
And he was feeding the remains to pigs, kind of that Sawyer family thing, He was just,
creepy guy, that's for sure.
But I'm like, dude, I see Gacy films, I see Dahmer, I see Bundy, but I've never seen Robert Picton.
Well,
and that's why I was
fairly fresh. It's not that fresh now, but it's. I think we're due for. I think we're due for it. So there you go.
Says I recommend watching trauma documentaries about making movies. There's one about making the Toxic Avenger. Sorry, motorcycle just drove by.
I heard that. Oh,
yeah, we've got one guy around here. He's got his bike is loud. Yeah, I've got Kaufman's book called "Make Your Own Damn Movie." That's the title of the book.
That's great.
He's like, step 1, get a cast. Step 2, don't pay them. Step 3. But then he gets serious after. He's just the normal Lloyd Kaufman. You can't take him too serious. But then he gets serious later on in the book.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was.
There you go.
I loved trauma movies back when I was a kid. I wasn't supposed to watch them, but I did. I had family members that let me watch a lot of shit that I wasn't supposed to, like Cheech and Chong, Fritz the Cat, a lot of horror movies. A lot of them scared the hell out of me, and I couldn't go to sleep at night, and I'd go beg my mom to stay in her room.
The good times, eh?
Yeah. I tell you to quit watching those damn horror movies, but they're so good, but the boogeyman's going to get me. And no, just the script writing alone is
That's
a challenge.
That's a challenge in and of itself. It's no easy task. So
Because I'll write 3 pages and then
Yeah.
I want to throw those 3 pages away after I wrote them because they're like, none of this makes sense. This is terrible.
Make it make sense. That's what you have to know where you're going ahead of time. If you're going to write yourself into a wall if you don't know where you're going. That's the thing. So
yeah, I've already got the ending. I've already got the ending figured out.
That's good. Just kind of the middle is tricky.
Yeah,
the middle can be the toughest part. You think if you got a beginning and an ending point, the middle should be able to fill in itself, but it doesn't always.
no,
you got to find the right road. And I don't know. It's because again, it's like a maze. Think of a maze. If you go a certain way in a maze, you're gonna be in a wall, right? You're gonna find a dead end. So you gotta go back and you gotta find the right way to go. It's kind of like that with script writing. I haven't really done that, but I always kind of, before I actually sit and write the script, I outline it. I outline all the parts and how we're going to get from this part to this part to this part to this part to the ending, how it's going to all connect. And so I never really have that problem. I just have, when I write scripts, I always have like questions that I feel like I need to answer at the end of the day. I feel like, and sometimes I realize I don't really need to answer these questions. There was definitely one question in Unseen. I was like, do I really need to answer this one? And upon enough pondering and getting advice from even other people, it's like, this is not something you really need to answer. Maybe some people will question it, but at the end of the day, people can find their own answers for this particular thing. And and if they can't find their own answers, well, they're just not creative enough. They just don't have, you have to be able to, you have to let your audience think a little bit. I find that, but even like, I don't know, there's one final shot I took recently. I took just to see if to get people's feedback on it. Wasn't in the script. Again, I can't say what it is, but at the end of the day, I have a feeling that at the end, like if I don't put this shot in, I feel like people are going to be pissed at me because I didn't give enough away, So I thought of the best possible way I could give them something. So I'm gonna get feedback on it still, because I'm still not 100% sure it's the right way to go, but I have a feeling it is going to be the right way to go, because I don't know, people need to be told everything, it seems.
triggers to write the boring parts more exciting for you to write. Have a random person or plot included to drive the story, etc. Yeah.
Very true. Yeah.
My problem is I'm trying to, I think I'm writing, thinking too much about how much money I could make.
Don't write that. Don't write thinking that. Again, at the hearing what I'm hearing, again, I don't know what it's going to need for special effects and stuff like that, but just already with just one location, more or less, and I don't know what your cast is looking like, but the locations can eat your budget. It really can. So if you're not saving on locations, that's huge.
I already told Luke that. I said, here's the thing. I said, I'm going at it from the Kevin Smith approach. I would like to be in my own movie, because hell, if I'm going to do one, I at least like to say I've been in it. But if I'm not good enough at acting, and if you are not good enough at acting, then hey, let's just be the Jay and Silent Bob. We're just the ones that are standing off to the side that just distract you every once in a while, or something. Random customer walking into the store, just any little thing. Concentrate more on directing and the actual photography or the filming of it. Because I told him, I was like, I do know that University of Hawaii has a drama section out there, or a drama school of some sort or whatever, where they do theater and have stage plays. I was like, I could always go out there and be like, hey, anybody here want to be in a horror movie?
Yeah.
Let me see what you got.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, just hold auditions. There's different sites you can use for that. What's the book that was big, but now apparently there's another one that's better. Morgan, if you know the name of it, shoot it in there. Shoot it in the comments because I'm drawing a blank.
Now I have the script writer's Bible. I do have that.
Well, that's
that
good.
I use.
Yeah, I have read that before. But you know, oh, damn it, what's that? It's going to bother me. I can't remember the name of that.
And I have a thesaurus.
That's good. It's handy because you know what?
Yep.
At the end of it, I mean, you have Google too at the same time, but you know, you don't want to have a script that says this person walks to this room.
No.
This person is looking over here. This person is walking. Walks and looks are two words that if they appear in the script like so many times, people are going to get bored. You got to use different synonyms for these words, you know. So think of the type of walking they're doing.
I learned
by reading other scripts. Yeah, me too. That's pretty. I probably did more too rather than things like the script Bible.
Believe it or not, the copy of the script for Sawyer Massacre that I bought from you, I've used as reference for my formatting and just how dialogue is supposed to be structured between two characters. I've used your script for that.
Oh, that's good.
I also went online and I got a copy of Carpenter's script from They Live.
Oh, there you go.
So just to be able to write kind of antagonistic dialogue between two characters, how to kind of do that without getting too overboard with it.
Yeah.
Because when you got the actor that played in The Thing, God, what's his name? He also played in that bad Emilio Estevez movie, Men at Work, but I like that movie.
I remember that movie. I can't remember who else was in that other than Charlie Sheen, though. It's been it's been a hot minute since I've seen that movie.
The black actor that played as their supervisor. But him and Nunya, who was Roddy Piper, when they kind of started fighting in that construction site over I'm telling you, I could see these are aliens. They ain't really human. And then they started fighting, had that long fight scene. Because I am putting a fight scene at some point in that film. And that's another thing too. I need somebody not just actors, but they can also play fight without killing each other.
You need a stunt coordinator then.
Or I can just do it off screen like Kevin Smith did in Clerks when Dante and Randall started fighting, you know, and they left it up to the imagination, and every now and then you saw a chip bag fly in front of the camera or a candy bar or something to that effect.
Yeah. Hey, it works. Do shadows on the wall. Do some struggling looking shadows on the wall. Get creative with your lighting there. You'll need a good DP. I don't know if Luke could do that or not, but
no,
need good lighting. So that's tricky. That's something I don't think I could do. I mean, I've done it a little bit, but
then part of me is like, do I just wait until I go back to the mainland, and then I have more opportunity to network? Because it's hard to network here, Steve. It is so hard to network here. It really is.
Yeah.
And I will say the movie making, filmmaking industry here in Hawaii is starting to grow because I've been watching it over the years. There is a community here but it's not like I could get on the mainland or even with you all in Canada. There's too much water in between me and being able to network, like
Yeah,
literally too much water.
I hear you.
So part of me is like, hey, just write the rough draft and just take my time doing the final. And then when I get where I know I can make it, then pull the trigger. I don't want to rush it. It's not something that I want to rush. Not at all.
Yeah.
But I also want to do it before I get too old and I'm pushing 50. So,
Never too late, buddy. Never too late.
But I mean, I don't give a shit if I make any money off of it or anything. I'm like you.
Yeah.
I just want to say I did it.
It'd
I
be
just want
nice
to
to make
check
money, but
Yeah,
you know,
but
it's not
I
why
want to
you do
be.
it. That's for sure.
I at least want to say when I get old and I start going over the list of things I've done, I could say, well, I was a good dad, and I served in the military, retired from that, did that honorably.
Yeah.
Started this little thing here on YouTube out of COVID, and made a movie. Because I've always wanted to make a movie ever since I was a little kid. I get envious of you all when I see you all make your movies because it's like, damn it, I wish I could do that shit. And
There's nothing that says you can't. I mean, I didn't get into film. I mean, I started off writing, and I was always writing short stories and stuff like that. But then I just kind of, in my 30s, just thought, man, it'd be cool to make movies. Find a wrestler to choreograph your fights. There you go.
You know what, Morgan? That's not a bad idea because there's actually a wrestling federation over here in Hawaii. And Luke actually knows some of them. So that's some people that he could hook me up with. He could teach how to throw a working punch without hurting somebody. But then me, I'm clumsy. You don't want to try to teach me how to throw a working punch because I'm probably going to potato you and then you're going to be mad at me. I would not be a good wrestler. One, I'm beat up, bad back. I'd be like Ric Flair in his last match, almost dying in the middle of the ring.
There you go. No, I mean, I actually, I've that's one area I've never had too many problems with was like people with experience with stunts. Like Sawyer Massacre, I thought we were gonna have problems with that. Because some of the scenes that we did, it's like holy crap. We need a stunt performer and a stunt coordinator. Well, we had a stunt coordinator. We didn't end up with a stunt performer. Mind you, we probably could have had a stunt performer, but we kind of skipped a lot of stuff that could have really used some real hardcore stunts, if you know what I mean. Like we were supposed to show the father Patrick Lescarbro go down, fall down the stairs, and we were gonna shoot that, but it was we're kind of running out of time. It was a lot of stuff we were gonna shoot that we didn't shoot because we were out of time, But we did have a guy on set that was like, "I'll fall down the stairs for you." I was like, well, if we have time, maybe we will do it. I don't know, but we never did. So kind of too bad.
Here, I need you to sign this real quick. What is that?
Oh,
Means I'm not responsible for you breaking your neck when you fall down the stairs.
Everybody signs on the dotted line. That's no matter what. No matter what. Whether you're doing stunts or not, everybody's signing stuff, signing their life away to me. They're on my sets.
That's been another thing I've been doing too. I've been trying to shop for insurance.
That's a tricky one. I got really lucky on Sawyer Massacre, but on this one, on Unseen, Front Row Insurance is kind of the big one here in Canada. I don't know if they deal with US at all. And I spoke with Front Row, and they're saying, well, it's going to be at least $2,500 for your insurance. That's the minimum that they do. And I paid like $1,000 on Sawyer Massacre for my insurance with, I think it was Empire Insurance I used down there. And I was hoping they could do it here, and unfortunately they couldn't. Whatever. They just couldn't. They couldn't offer insurance in Canada unless I had a Canadian, an American producer on set. We had American producers, but none were on set. So I was the only producer that was on set. So that's unfortunate. We didn't. I'm like, what about actors on set? No. They don't give a shit about the actors. But yeah, if we would have had one of our American producers on set, we could have still used them. And $1,000 is pretty good for insurance on a movie. But yeah, so Front Row was like $2,500 is what is the lowest you'll possibly pay. So I went out. I went to Facebook and all social media, seeing if anybody knows a cheaper way to get insurance, because I didn't want to pay $2,500 for insurance, because that's pretty damn pricey if you ask me.
Yeah, that's one of my credit cards in my wallet.
And that's the cheapest. So that's the cheapest insurance package they had. Luckily, somebody saw my post that lives locally, reached out to me, and I guess there's a new. I think they're fairly local. Or at least they're only in British Columbia, and they even work with the same insurance providers as Front Row and everything like that. So we knew it was good, and it was half the price. So I paid $1,250 for the insurance. The only thing I had to make sure I did was have WorkSafe WorkSafe BC attached, which you wouldn't. It's just insurance for anybody who's on payroll. I had to claim payroll and who was on it, and so they charge you a certain percentage of what you pay your payroll, basically what you've paid your staff. Technically, because we are, Sequanda Films is a small business, so that was the only thing I had to do. I think the total insurance I had to pay them was something like $70. It's like a very small percentage of what you paid people on set. So it was really, really cheap. And then the actual insurance was only like $1,200. So it's really cheap. It was definitely better than paying the $2,500 that Front Row wanted. So I'm sure Front Row is great. I see all the people using Front Row, but I was super happy that sorry, I can't even remember the name of the company right off the top of my head. I have to go through my emails. So many different names of people. I almost forgot our catering company's name and everything. Oh, but their food was so good, I couldn't forget that.
Through Fiendish Fantasy Productions, my little company, I have small business insurance for liability reasons, but that's through USAA, which is for military and veterans that are retired.
Yeah.
But talking to them, because I'm new to this, I'm just still trying to figure it out myself. My liability insurance from my LLC is not going to cover if I make a movie. I got to have a whole different type of insurance for that.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So they'll cover everything that's, people on my payroll, different things like that, liability wise for the company. But for the production shoot, if there's accidents or anything, nope. That's got to be entirely different.
That can be. Some companies can just add it on. So I don't know if the company you're got your insurance with.
No, they can't even add it on because that's something they've never dealt with.
Oh, there you go. Like when I was first when I made my first feature film, which has never been released because again it was sound more than anything else. I'll just say that the sound is just horrendous. But when I made that movie, I made that for under 10,000 Canadian dollars. So that's like $7,000 for you guys. Nothing basically. So the reason why we don't have sound. But one of the things I had my music school I was running at the time. I was still running my music school, and I had my insurance through Capri Insurance here in town. And I asked them if they could just add production insurance on top of my existing insurance with them, and they were able to actually do it. And it was like super cheap to add it on. It was something crazy. I had to pay for a whole year, mind you, but it was something like $9 a month. It was like so cheap. I was like, I'm really paying only $9 a month for this. It was. I mean, I was lucky, but I was not able to do that again. They stopped doing that after. I think it was after 2016, because the broker I was in touch with told me that they wouldn't be able to offer production insurance anymore. I don't know. I think a lot of rules changed around that time as far as getting production insurance, and the liability and all that kind of stuff just kind of changed. It's not. I'm not an expert on that kind of stuff. I just buy what they tell me I have to buy. Do I need this? Yes, you need that.
One thing I've
Excuse
been
me.
happy about is with USAA, they cover every bit of this equipment that I've got, even
That's
the stuff
important.
that you're not seeing. So
Yeah.
I've got cameras, I've got another mixing board, I've got a boom mic, 2 or 3 other laptops. I buy little bits as I go along just to build it up because whenever I use stuff, because I do commercials for people around here too. And God, when it was all totaled up and we got done, they said, you got almost 20 grand in equipment. I was like, just in my apartment? They were like, yeah. I was like, you're telling me I've spent 20 grand on this shit? I was like, oh God.
Yeah. Some people spend a lot more, believe it or not,
They were like, well, that Sony camera that you bought alone,
yeah.
though it's not high end, that was still 5 grand.
Yeah. They're not cheap. Yeah.
So I was like, well,
the Canon C70 buy, I think was how much was that? It was comparable. It was somewhere around 5 to 10 grand, somewhere in there. Nice camera and all, but holy crap.
even the damn boom mic was expensive.
Oh yeah.
I was like, God, I was like, that thing on a stick is that much? I was like, well, I gotta have it. So fuck.
Yeah, was it the Sennheiser?
Mm-mm.
That's one of the most recommended ones anyway. So I can't remember the Sennheiser H14 or something. I don't
It might be, but I'd had to go across the room to dig it out.
I had to use it. I had to rent it for my ADR. It's definitely cheaper to rent than to buy. I'll say that. Well, I'm lucky that I'm working with a good company in town for my rentals. So
Well, I also looked at it too. I was like, okay, well, if I got this production company, and if somebody comes along and they want to make a movie of their own and they don't have the equipment to do it, I can be like, I will give you this equipment for this much money to use. You're liable for it. Need you to fill this paperwork out, of course, with a lawyer. They're going to have to fill the paperwork out, or well, not necessarily with a lawyer, but a contract, so to speak. And they give me so much money to rent that equipment, and you put my production company in your movie as one of the production companies that helped you, because my equipment did help you make the movie.
That's exactly
so that's why I bought the shit. So if somebody wants to make their own, I can be like, hey, I got the stuff, just don't tear it up, but I can loan it to you for this much money. And do you have somebody there that knows how to use it? Because I know how to use the camera, but does your guy know how to use it? Because he can break it, and I don't really want that $5,000 camera broke.
Oh yeah. It's not just that the camera; it's the accessories with the camera. Do you know how the camera mounts onto this plate and for this tripod or this gimbal or whatever type of equipment you're using?
And that camera, you drop it. It's done. It's done. It is.
Well, invest in a crash rig for it. That's all I'll say.
I'm just saying, just human error. If you drop it, I mean, it's probably done.
And again, if you have a crash rig for it, you can drop it in. They're pretty durable. At least the one I'm using is pretty durable. The lens we got is pretty big though. The lens is not protected, and I think of actually the lenses we got probably cost more than the camera. But lenses are important, man. They are. You gotta have good lenses. And we had to buy for our lenses. We had to buy a specific adapter because they don't connect properly. They don't connect to our camera. They're the wrong size or whatever. I can't remember the specific terms. But we had to buy this little ring to connect both of them. So we really wanted these lenses. So they just but they're big ass lenses.
If I have that thing in here or not. This is my other camera that I use for.
Oh, tiny.
Yeah, it's a little Sony for doing content if I'm not here in front of my stuff.
Yeah.
But this little mic. This is a little Sony mic for shooting outdoors, windscreen. This little thing's powerful for a little one. And this was About $550.
Okay.
And
That's
you,
pretty average, I think. I mean, yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I could put this thing on top of this camera or my other camera, as long as it interfaces with that little chip right there, and that thing will pick me up all the way across the apartment. Loud. I mean, it nice for. I considered it cheap, $500 something for that kind of technology, but yeah, you can't necessarily make a movie with it, but you can shoot outside and it picks up no wind, and you can be in a windstorm. I tested it out because I saw a guy on Sony's website trying to do it, and I was like, man, I call bullshit on that, so I'm gonna go try it. So I went outside one day when we had trade winds blowing real hard, and I set it up, went talking, got back in here, put the SD card in my computer, watched it. I was like, he weren't bullshitting.
Yeah.
It was actually legit. You couldn't hear. You could faintly hear a little bit of the wind. Faintly. But I was rather impressed. I was like, that's cool.
There you go.
I've got more shit in here than a Best Buy, I swear. Too much.
Man. There you go.
Guitars and amps and boom mics and cameras. And
I got a lot of that too, man. A lot of the same stuff now. Yeah. Lots of guitars and amps and speakers and stuff that I haven't used for a while. I'll say that.
Exercise bike.
Oh, I don't have one of those. I probably need one of those. I don't have room. I have no room for that. But, my belly says I need one.
I've got a box full of green screens over here.
The
cloth ones.
I never use green. I've done it once. I did a movie where we needed green screens once, and I felt so out of my element. I thought this is never going to work, but the DP told me it's going to work, so I was like, okay, I'll trust you, man. And from what I saw, it came out good. I still hasn't released the movie. I wish he would, but it's just a short film. But yeah.
Yeah, they're sensitive, though. You got to make sure the green screen is clean, and you got to make sure the color is even all the way across it. You can't have a lighter spot or a darker spot, because when you're adjusting that chroma key on it, if you got a darker spot or whatever, which meaning your lighting needs to be good.
Yeah.
It'll throw that whole chroma off big time. I've messed with enough of it. I've always, I enjoy playing with the green screen, especially if you put the green screen suit on and you grab something and you can make it look like it's floating through your house. That's kind of cool.
Cool. There you
go. Be like, I got a ghost. See, look. Apple floating across the house. I don't know. Just, I like playing in my old age.
Yeah, why not? Keep yourself entertained, right?
I ain't got no kids around. I'm not married, and I ain't got shit else to do. I get bored, damn it.
There you go. Yeah, I have those things. I have kids, and I'm married, and I'm on my toes all the time. It's what takes me away from editing. I was like, I wish I could just.
Well, I can tell you, living around Filipinos, man, you got a Filipino wife. You got to keep her happy or she'll kick your ass.
Damn right. Yeah. She definitely wears the pants in this marriage. That's for sure.
Filipino women got a nice temper, I tell you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Puerto Rican women and Filipino women. Worst tempers I've ever seen.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know any Puerto Rican people, so
no, there's actually a lot of Puerto Ricans here.
It's
the weirdest thing. I'm like, how in the world did you get from that island all the way to over to this island? Oh well. Oh man. Well, how much longer you got for your Indiegogo to run?
Well, I don't have to turn it off as far as I know.
Oh, that's right, because it's in demand, right?
Yeah, it's in demand, so I'm just gonna keep her going until I at least break even on it. Or I don't know. I don't know. We'll see.
How close?
I haven't really been promoting it much though lately. I hope to get back to promoting it, but I want our teaser trailer to be ready. It's another thing I'm waiting on Joe for. Joe, where are you? He's not in the comments. I should have made sure he was checking it out. But Joe's my graphics guy, in case people don't know. He does all of our little promo little things that look good. Posters and, well, actually not this poster. I did that poster, but the Sawyer Massacre poster up there and our posters for Unseen. Yeah. So he did all that, and he puts little promo videos and stuff together with the footage we have and all that kind of stuff. He's a great guy. But, he's I'm just waiting on him for the few little graphics on the teaser trailer. Then I'll release it to you guys. You guys can see the first official teaser trailer that we have. It's just a teaser, though. Just a teaser. I don't know if we'll do a full trailer or not. We'll see. We'll see.
Joe's one of them salted earth people, man. Very down to earth. Just
yeah. He works hard. He definitely puts everything he can into these projects. That's for sure. So, yeah, good guy.
Just noticed you took down the Soundgarden poster and replaced it with the Sawyer Massacre. Was it a Soundgarden poster back there?
I have Soundgarden over here. You can
okay.
There. What did I have there before? I've had the Sawyer Massacre poster up there for quite a while now, so I can't
maybe
remember if I had something before that.
I got to see the Soundgarden one.
Or maybe I had the Return of the Jedi poster there before, because I have it. You can't see it now. If I shift my computer around, you can see the Return of the Jedi.
Okay. Yeah.
So that was the Return of the Jedi poster was probably back there before. Probably, I think.
The artist for those posters just passed away this week.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. That's kind of a bummer. Oh well.
Yeah, he had a good run up in his 80s, almost 90. So hey,
I
look at that as you had one hell of a run.
Yeah,
big bucket of win right there.
Yeah.
Well, my belly's starting to get hungry.
Then you got to eat. I always forget it's a little earlier there for you than it is here. So I don't even know what time is it now.
Yeah, it's 8 here.
10:08. Holy crap. My wife probably wants to go to bed. We've been yapping for 2.5 hours.
Hey, man, I haven't talked to you in forever, so daggone it.
All good, buddy. All good.
Well, gang, if nobody else has got any questions, I'll let Steve get out of here before he ends up in the doghouse.
I'll be back doing more of these stuff, so think of some questions for me.
Yeah. Miss your little trivia game show you were doing.
I'll get back. I'll get back to it. I'll get back to doing my own podcast and stuff like that soon. Just I want to get that damn teaser ready. Yeah, but waiting on Joe. But I don't want to rush him either. As I know
if you need any help with anything, just let me know, man. I know I'm
for sure
4,000 miles away, but I'll try my best. If you need a fresh set of eyes on something that you need to see, like you've done in the past, you've asked me to watch things for you, feel free. I won't spoil it for nobody. I'll sign an NDA. I'll do whatever you need me to do.
Awesome, buddy.
If you need me to write you another letter to the Prime Minister again, I'll do that for you too.
Okay. I don't even need that, but that's okay.
It's like, Mr. Trudeau, my man needs money for his movie.
Yeah. Give me some.
But gang, Uncle John's going to get out of here because my belly's starting to growl. The day's cheat day, so I get my cake today. I only eat some cake. Yep, I only have one cheat day a week, Saturdays. Rest of the week, I only eat like 1,500 calories.
There you go.
Yep.
Good for you, man.
Lean cuisine. They've kind of growed on me.
Do what you got to do, buddy.
But all that talk about poutine earlier has got me thinking about cheese, curds, gravy, and French fries.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't live in Canada. I'd be dead in a year from all that food. Tim Hortons and poutine.
I haven't had Tim Hortons in probably 10 years. You know that? I don't know. I think it's overrated. But,
I like the little donut holes. I do love those.
Oh, the Timbits.
Yeah. Never had the actual regular donuts.
The regular donuts used to be pretty good, and then about 2001, 2002, somewhere in there,
It fell off.
They changed it. They changed the recipe. I think they were making it more factory made or something like that. I don't know. And the donuts were never the same after that. I don't know.
My dad up in Ohio has this donut shop that's been there ever since I was a child. It's called Jolly Pirate Donut. Don't look for it for anywhere else in the United States because you're not going to find it. It's West Virginia and Ohio. That's only places I know of that have it. But they got apple turnovers in that place.
Whoa.
Good God.
Okay, we got to stop talking about food now. That's enough. Before I get into trouble here.
Morgan said, nice catching with you guys.
Nice catching up with you too, Morgan. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, man. Good luck on your projects and stuff. I seen he launched a new production company and all that. So
really?
Wish him luck.
Very cool. Very cool. I haven't
keep making him
anybody lately. I'm so behind on stuff. But
well,
I'm going to be doing more of this stuff. I'm going to get back to my own YouTube channel. I think next week I'm going to be on another podcast. So getting back into the grind. It's just, one step at a time. I know I need to get back into doing it because I've been away for too long, damn it. This movie has taken too much out of me, but, just remember it's an independent feature film, guys. If it was a short, it wouldn't take this much time, but it's a feature. It's got a lot of work has to go into it.
And you're a one-man army, basically.
Pretty much. Other than the colorist and Joe doing the graphics, it's me driving the train for the most part in post-production. I just have, Joe helping here and my colorist helping here, and so that's it.
Well, gang, if you all want to help out, go down there to that little link there in the description of this video or live stream, as it is right now. It'll soon be a video, so either or. Click on it, go over to the Unseen Indiegogo page, and there is a plethora. See, I know big words too.
Oh,
plethora. A plethora. What was that on? Three Amigos?
We were talking about that earlier, weren't we? Not that specific scene, but yeah, Three Amigos, a plethora. Oh, yeah, you have a plethora.
He goes, I'm not smart like you, El Guapo. But anyway, he has a plethora, which means many, of perks to choose from physical copies of the movie, copies of the script, film used items, digital copies of the movie. You could sponsor it, be a producer on it, all kinds of stuff.
Lots of stuff. Posters, T-shirts.
And Christmas is coming up, so hey, stocking stuffers.
We might do a Christmas special. We might be adding some new perks. I teased that we have a pretty cool screen used item that you may or may not want to purchase. I'll say this though, this item will be pretty expensive because of what's inside. I may have spoiled too much already. There's something that comes with it that's super special. We'll just say that, but also super expensive. Yeah.
And as for me on my end coming up, I don't have really anything going on for the rest of the month. I do have a retrospective for Friday the 13th I got to finish, but I spent about 2 days in the hospital last week, so that set that back, and just needed checkups and different things like that. Basically physicals. I should scare y'all. I didn't really stay at the hospital. I just had to go. So I got that I'm doing. And I've also been in contact with Ryan Kruger, the director who did Fried Barry, and currently has done the new sequel or remake of Street Trash. So he's basically he just launched that on Wednesday or Thursday. That movie just premiered. And coming on with him is going to be Frank Farrell, who's been on before, and he is the writer for Spookies from 1986. and he also played in the OG Street Trash as the bum who gets his wiener bit off.
Okay.
So there you go.
There you go.
Something to look forward to for hopefully between January and February. That's all I got for now. I've got to get up with Michelle because I do want to do a watch along of the third channel with her on here and kind of have like her director commentary for it.
That'd be awesome. I'd tune in for that for sure. There you go.
Yep, because I want to get more eyes on that flick. I actually like that movie.
Yeah.
I call it the little engine that could. Because she never thought she was going to get it made, and she got it made.
Oh, that must have been tough. Talk about tight budgets. Holy crap.
Hey, she did it. So
She did it. Yeah, exactly. Perseverance pays off, you know. It's you know, I mean, I hope nobody's expecting these movies to be perfect, but you know, if we get them made on these types of budgets, holy crap.
that's right.
I think she had like 10 grand or something to make that. Oh God. How's it possible? How's it possible? But you know.
That's right. For all you aspiring filmmakers out there, like Rocky V, if you got a Tommy gun on top of you beating you down, don't think you can make your movie. Just know that you could come out on the other side just like Rocky.
Exactly.
I had a tiger, baby. And Rocky V is not a bad movie.
There you go. Two people on this planet believe it. Two people.
It was a change from the norm. I know everybody was used to Rocky walking around town, training, or not training, but trying to solve some kind of personal issue. Then you got the training montage, then the fight, roll credits, rinse, wash, repeat. I like Rocky V because it was different from the other ones.
Me too.
Sorry. Not sorry. There.
Hey,
I'm going to stand
people
on my
like
heel.
whatever the heck they want to like. It's, you know, we're all going to have our opinions. You know, I like some movies that are popular with, you know, I don't just go on liking movies because people don't like them. That's for sure. It's just, I make my own opinion, and I like Rocky V, but you know,
One of my favorite horror movies is Phantasm. A lot of people don't like it.
there you go.
It is what it is.
Oh, anywho, I better get going because I'm sure my wife wants to go to bed here.
Well, tell her I'm sorry, and if she wants to kick anybody's ass, she can come kick mine.
Oh, yeah, no worries.
Or send me a strongly worded message. Whatever.
Great.
Well, all
chat
right,
with you,
gang.
John. All right.
Appreciate y'all hanging out. Appreciate you, Steve, coming and hanging out with me tonight. Nice catch up with you. Don't be a stranger. You're welcome on here anytime.
Awesome.
Like I said, need any help with Unseen, just hit your boy up. I'll do whatever you need me to do and try to help you out.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, same to you, man. And as for the rest of you, thank you for tuning in. And as always, see you again next time.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.